We got one!
Now, before I take questions, I would like to address an extremely dishonest narrative that we've seen emerging over the past few days. Many outlets in this room have been fear-mongering the American people into believing there is a constitutional crisis taking place here at the White House. I've been hearing those words a lot lately. But in fact, the real constitutional crisis is taking place within our judicial branch, where district court judges in liberal districts across the country are abusing their power to unilaterally block President Trump's basic executive authority.
Because Trump bad. Trump bad.
So can I ask you a question?
What do you have? Go ahead. No, that's enough. Go ahead.
Can I ask? But that wasn't my question.
The problem is you don't write the truth. So, as far as I'm concerned, I want to go to the next
Can I
one.
ask you a question about?
No, not CNN, please. Go ahead.
The White House has not responded to these
I told you.
allegations.
CNN is fake news. Don't talk to me. Go ahead, please.
But he says he was retaliated against, and that's why he was removed from his job. Do you have a response to that?
Okay, next question.
Mr. President, I have.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
Who is the most masculine Democrat right now in America? Mayor Pete?
Is that a gay joke?
No. Mayor Pete. No. Well, no, it's just that he's not particularly masculine. Nobody's like, oh, Mayor Pete, he's a badass. Chuck Schumer? Is anybody like, hey, Chuck Schumer holding up an avocado and a beer to talk about the Super Bowl? Is anybody like, hey, that's a dude I want to hang out with?
But Trump's like a grandpa.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Trump took a bullet in his ear and immediately stood up and said, fight, fight, fight. Every man in America and most of the women out here were impressed by that, even if the women won't admit it. She's shaking her head strong. And second part of this, basically summing it up, Democrats for men are put, and Republicans
Democrats for men
are put. There are no masculine men in the Democrat Party right now.
I mean, we just want volunteers, not hostages. At this point, because,
I also find it rich that all of the sudden the other side has some problem with successful businessmen being involved in politics whenever you guys are the party of George Soros, of Bill and Melinda Gates, of Sheryl Sandberg, of Mackenzie Bezos, of Taylor Swift, of so many other billionaires across the country, as well as every woke, weird pervert in Hollywood. I find this incredibly disingenuous. I think the reality is that the Republican Party under President Trump has a very clear mandate from voters, and you guys don't like it because voters rejected everything you stand for and every policy that you've shoved down the American people's throats over the past 4 years, whether it's open borders, a failing economy, raging inflation, this weird woke stuff that you guys have been shoving down our children's throats. And the voters rejected you and they welcomed our party.
Have you ever seen that video? No. Pull that video up, because it's one of my favorites.
I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, this whole system is rigged. And the moderator said, well, Mr. Trump, if in fact the system is rigged, what would be your evidence? Remember what he said, bro? He said,
I absolutely used it, and so did Warren Buffett, and so did George Soros, and so did many of the other people that Hillary is getting money from.
no one ever heard someone say something that true. And then Hillary Clinton tried to punch him in the taxes. She said, this man doesn't pay his taxes. He shot right back.
See, I understand the tax code better than anybody that's ever run for president, and it's extremely complex.
And then he said,
She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? The reason you didn't is that all your friends take the same advantage that I do. Hillary Clinton has friends that want all of these provisions.
and with that, my friends, the star was born.
Because Trump bad. Trump bad.
But then Kennedy's like, it's not our fault, it's because of Kathleen Kennedy. But then Kathleen Kennedy's just like, fuck it, make it more lame. And everyone in town is like, no, please, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything. But Kathleen Kennedy is all like, put another gay, diverse woman in it, make it more fucking lame. And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stocks? No, Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes. What would you say you do here?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
Ryan Mass just pulled the funniest troll move. He straight up corrected the evicted protesters like, yeah, PEPFAR funding was restored.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to testify before this committee. My name is Max Primorak. I am a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation. I previously served at the U.S. Agency for International...
PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives!
I guess these guys don't watch the news. They didn't realize that PEPFAR was one of the many programs that did prove to be life-saving, so the funding was restored. Somebody better give them a link to, I don't know, maybe Fox News or something like that.
RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is the
It's a category
crime?
of crime.
Oh, it's time to admit, huh? That a lot of y'all see your own people through the eyes of them folks. That's the reason why you got all these surface level critiques about hood ghetto people.
Because Trump bad. Trump bad.
I do have respect. You need to have some.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Thank you for your service.
I didn't want to turn around.
that hat in public.
Because y'all got false narratives out there, and y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. I'm also the supervisor of Thorn Township. So when do I have time for little people? I don't. They beneath me. They beneath me.
And not let people feed you poison.
Hello, Democrats. Hey, I am speaking, and I would love your attention. There is a black woman at this podium, and I deserve your attention like the 11 people who went before me. Yes, I am speaking.
What's going on around here? Put down that comedy relief. What's the big idea? I'm the hero of this picture. Carry me. Give me the cheers. Give me 1 dozen roses.
You ain't shit. You ain't even a fucking pig no more.
You think that makes me less dangerous or more?
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
Well, we are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
¿Qué pues, pinche gringo mamón?
U.S. Border Protection. How can I help you?
Pues sí, you can help me. Devuélveme mi trabajo. ¿Qué hiciste? ¿Qué hiciste, cabrón? ¡Me destrozaste el coche, pinche gringo!
Thanks for your collaboration. And remember, don't come back again.
¡Y el gringo nos quiere cobrar el muro! ¡Dile que no, pinche gringo racista! ¡Pues no te pagaremos nada!
Wait a minute, please.
Señor Trump.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever this video finds you, welcome to Tix. This is Common Sense, and bro, you killed me with the ashy lip heifers. And you're welcome. I was gonna get around to making you a mod again, but I didn't see you that often. But now that I had you, I had enough time. I was able to get it done. Oh my goodness. Talking to Lewis before all of this, before we got the show started, and let me tell you, Trump, he will not slow down. He will not slow down. He firing folks left and right. Pam Bondi pressing charges on people. And I had a feeling that as soon as Kash Patel was, as soon as he got through, oh man, the sliding board was gonna be like this. It was gonna go from this to this. All right, let's watch his swear in and then we'll get started because there's a lot to cover. We may not be able to cover it all in 2 hours. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll come back tomorrow night at 9. I mean, it's like I can't do my Monday, Wednesday, Friday show because he's doing, dude, you doing too much. You doing Trump, you doing too much. Oh my goodness. But the good news is that, like, in all honesty, he is, as I said, he is a dictator. But luckily for us, he's a benevolent business dictator. When he says that he's really for America, at least we know that to be true. And I'm gonna tell you right now, don't start hollering racism when he start locking up all these criminalistic YTs, you know, YNs. Yeah, I call them young thugs. YNs. Don't get mad when you start throwing black folks in jail for all that thieving and criminal activity that they was doing in last year, just on repeat. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't call it racism. Call it justice. Let's go. What's up, Audrey? They know this stream will be a Trump MAGA marathon stream.
Wow. First and foremost, we were just with President Trump, and I just want to thank him. I know he's not here in the room right now, but what a ride we have been on. What a courageous warrior and leader he has been, and the faith and trust he has put in me to lead the FBI is the greatest honor that I'll ever have in my life. And to General Bondi, sounds pretty fucking cool. All right. Pam, you're my sister, you're my mentor, you're my friend. You're my boss, and the confidence you have placed in me, I will never violate that trust. The men and women of the FBI will be led under your leadership through one standard, the Constitution. So thank you for entrusting me, Pam. Man, this is effing crazy. So obviously you don't get here alone. You know, I'm here because of God. I'm here because of my family, and I'm here because of my friends. And you're literally in this room because you made it happen. My sister, Nisha, and my nephew, Aryan, flew in from London just to be here. My beautiful girlfriend, Alexis, is here.
Oh, that's his girlfriend.
Yes, I agree. My aunts and uncles are here. They've come from all over the country. I am living the American dream.
We're about to find out.
And anyone that thinks the American dream is dead,
just gonna humbly slap cuffs on.
You're talking to a first-generation Indian kid who's about to lead the law enforcement community, the greatest nation on God's green earth. That can't happen anywhere else. To the senators and the men and women of the United States House of Representatives, you placed an enormous trust in me, an enormous leap of faith. One that I didn't know that I could possibly earn back, but I'm going to spend every single day on this job doing so. The fact that you placed the confidence you did in me has inspired me to reach new heights at this job. I promise you the following: there will be accountability within the FBI and outside of the FBI, and we will do it through rigorous constitutional oversight starting this weekend.
Yeah. Man. Saturday morning, 6 a.m.
This is great. We all used to live in the same freaking house. Yeah, I don't have any prepared remarks. I wish I could go around the room and, you know, tell the story about how each and every one of you have magically touched my life to put me in this position. What a roller coaster ride it has been. I do know this. We are in this room together because you guys have a love of country that is truly inspirational, and it bleeds out everywhere we go. And if you look around this room, you see civil servants, you see warriors, you see attorneys, you see great husbands and fathers and mothers and wives. And we're fighting for the same thing, our future, our children, this guy. And there is no greater mission. I wish I had more words to thank every single one of you, but every time I look at every single one of you, you guys know the stories you can't tell. More importantly, the ones you can. You know, this is, Pam and I were just talking in the back, and we were like, do you believe this? Like, you know, we were on the campaign trail together. We were attorneys in the first administration together. Now we're here. She's the Attorney General. I'm the director of the FBI. Like, this is insane. And I don't really fully believe it yet. I hope to. But I'm just not here without you guys. And look, I know the media's in here. And if you have a target, that target's right here. It's not the men and women at the FBI. You've written everything you possibly can about me that's fake, malicious, slanderous, and defamatory. Keep it coming, bring it on. But leave the men and women of the FBI out of it. They deserve better. And for those of you who think that there's going to be a two-tier system of justice, not with Attorney General Bondi. There's a singular system of justice for all Americans, and there will be accountability. And the reason that this mission is so important is simply the following. 100,000 people last year raped. 100,000 people died of CCP fentanyl overdose and heroin. 17,000 homicides. Violent crime is out of control. We cannot have a United States of America where that is acceptable, where someone dies every 30 minutes, where someone ODs every 7, where someone's raped every 6. That cannot be allowed to continue, and it will not be allowed to continue. Our national security mission is equally as important. Anyone that wishes to do harm to our way of life and our citizens here or abroad will face the full wrath of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And if you seek to hide in any corner of this country or any corner of this planet, we will put on the world's largest manhunt, and we will find you, and we will decide your end state, not you. We will uphold the Constitution. We will uphold ourselves to the Constitution. The men and women at the FBI, I have your back because you have the backs of the American people. You will be held to the same high standard. Any deviation from that standard will not be tolerated at this Federal Bureau of Investigation. The men and women at the FBI who make us safe deserve better, and they are going to get it with our leadership and your support. God bless America, and God bless every one of you. I love this country.
You want to chest bump somebody? All right, so we just hugged Pam Bondi.
Everyone go to the Waldorf.
Oh, that's where the after party is, the Waldorf? That's the after party? What's going on? What are you doing? Oh, okay. When did he do this? Okay, man, so much information. What I got next? I've been compiling stuff and fixing stuff, and his girlfriend looks like an anime character. She is so pretty. No, here we go. All right, now, Carolyn Leavitt. She has been one of the main people whose name I have been forgetting. I will not forget it again. Anyway, let's hear what's coming out of Trump's mouth today.
Can I ask you a question, Caroline, very quickly?
Sure.
This woman is like a pit bull.
Some traditionally red districts right now complaining about what they say is the chainsaw approach and saying that it's been done very sloppily, the cuts to jobs and spending. How do you respond to that criticism?
I love how the media takes a few critics when the overwhelming response from the American people is support for what this administration is doing. If you look at the public polling, 70% of Americans, according to CBS, believe that President Trump is delivering on the promises he made. And there should be no secret about the fact that this administration is committed to cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. The president campaigned on that promise. Americans elected him on that promise, and he's actually delivering on it. And this is something that Democrats promised they would do for decades. President Trump is just the first president to get it done.
Let me ask you about the fraud, if I can. We can all have our own opinion about what is wasteful spending, and Republicans have praised the president for cutting wasteful spending, but fraud, of course, is a crime. So have you turned over evidence of fraud to the Justice Department, and when should we expect to see those indictments?
It's a clever question. First of all, I think all Americans would agree that funding mastectomies in Mozambique is not something that the American people should be funding, or DEI programs. I think it's fraudulent that the American government has been ripping off taxpayers in this way. And we also do know there has been extensive fraud, particularly if you look at Social Security. In fact, according to an IG report from the Social Security Administration, there was $71 billion worth of fraud in one single fiscal year that we know about. And so that is a lot of fraud, Peter, that the government has admitted to. So this administration...
Quick word, because, I got to do my breaks. Of course, CNN is trying to lie and say that, Musk, he misread the Social Security numbers of how they compute it and all this stuff. There's not millions of people getting checks from from Social Security and the IRS, whatever. That's a goddamn lie. I done told y'all 1,000 times. I'm working at the hotels. I'm working hotels over 25 years. Again, I can't begin to tell you how many times they posted on the community board the sheets of people's birthdays, and you got all these people with the same birthday. How the hell else? You got illegal immigrants with bank accounts and cashing checks through bank accounts and everything. How the hell do you think they're doing that? You have to have a Social Security number in order to do that, right? Unless you go into a check cashing place. But even then, you need a valid state ID or driver's license. They have to check it. They will check it. So how are you doing that without a Social Security number? I mean, sure, you can go to a taco truck or something that'll illegally cash your check. But I mean, these people be having bank accounts. They be having houses, paying rents at apartments. You need a Social Security number to do that. Get the hell out of here. That's why you got people with 150 years old still collecting checks.
Is committed to finding even more of that fraud, waste, and abuse.
Oh, that's happening.
$71 billion was from 2015 to 2022, so it wasn't in just 1 year, and it was
$71 billion.
But it wasn't in 1 year, just to be clear.
In one report.
And it was in one report over multiple years, from 2015 to 2022.
So are you defending $71 billion in fraud, Peter? That's a lot of money, far too much, and that's why this administration. Why is the media so against cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the government? I don't get it. We won't be deterred. We will not be deterred from people like you and the press who are clearly adamantly opposed to cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. But we know that American taxpayers at home who have been struggling with an inflationary crisis don't want their tax dollars going towards crazy DEI programs in countries overseas. They also don't like the fact that there has been $71 billion worth of fraud in Social Security and improper payments going out the door. That's a problem that needs to be fixed, and President Trump is going to fix it.
You know what it is? You know what it is? You know why Democratic media is steady? They're not addressing the issue. I mean, outside of the fact that, of course, they get their marching orders from, what's up, baby? They get their marching orders from the Democratic Party. But do understand, they are in, not only are they in the Democratic Party's pocket mentally, but that's who's paying them. I mean, we saw what happened with Politico. We saw what happened with Politico. I explained to y'all what happened, and a lot of people on social media, they noticed that. Even people who are Democrat favorites, like David Pakman or whatever, and myself, like on Twitter for him across all his social medias. I mean, these are people who make a living off of social media. Harry Sishin, all these people, and they speak positively about the Democratic Party or even negatively. On November 6th, people lost hundreds of thousands of followers, about 200,000 followers, and dropping like immediately. All of a sudden, all my posts on TikTok, they stopped being like, I was getting like thousands of hits. All of a sudden that stopped. And there was a lot of dissension, and my page was being reported. You know, I'm like almost about to lose my page because of it was nothing but bots, which they still have. But now the bots attack the Elon Musk post. I made 3. I can show y'all. I can show you better than I can tell you. I can show you better than I can tell you. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Or maybe you will. All right, let's see. Let me go to my profile. Okay. All right. So look, I'm gonna show y'all this. All right, so you see this 4,700 views. All right, 4,700 views, 24, 340, 397, 391, 6,561, 463, 331, and then I put this up. Yep. It says anti-Elon bots are responsible for these numbers. They flooded my comment section with anti-Elon rhetoric. And that would be, so then I threw this up before I did that. Where say Elon says that TikTok is full of spam bots aimed at posting negative comments about him. Like, and he's right. And Twitter is full of Elon alts like Adrian Dittman. And I didn't even believe him until it did happen. But hold on, I'll show you. Let's see. I had to shut it off. Because it was ridiculous. I had to turn the comments off. But as you can see, this, let's see here. How many hits did this thing get? This thing got 5,700 hits, and then this one here got 10K hits. But here we go. It's like 464, then 10K, 338, 744, 561, 809, 452, 5,700, 514, 447. You know, you see what I'm saying? You see the bots. You see the bots. The bots are coming. You know, because this is what the Democratic Party is paying for. Now, as you know, they're trying to stop all of the cuts and everything. They're trying to stop people from being fired and whatnot. But Trump, he fired some judges, Pam Bondi today, pressed charges on people. Like shortly after that whole Kash Patel little meeting, she pressed charges on like 2 people. Trump is winning in the courts. He firing people left and right. I wouldn't be surprised when they get through these audits that CNN, MSNBC, The View, ABC News, CBS, NBC, I wouldn't be surprised if they were getting paychecks from the government under the table through the Democratic Party. I would not be surprised. I mean, the death of the Democratic Party and their media machine, man, that's what I should probably rename this. Name this Death of the Democratic Party Part 4. They are taking a beating, a massive beating.
Your 5th question. Elena, do you have anything to ask?
You said something that wasn't true, which is you said that they have found before that they believe there have been tens of millions of people who are receiving money who are dead on the Social Security list. The same report that you referred to said that almost none of those individuals are receiving
Peter, did you watch the full clip of the interview that I did when I said that? And I said there are a lot of unanswered questions, and we suspect there could be tens of millions of people.
I'm saying the IG report
so you just said what I said is not true. In fact, it was true. That's a suspicion that this administration has, and we're committed to finding out the truth. Thank you, everybody.
It is based in fact. He trying to say, well, what you said is not based in fact. You mother, father, sister, brother, you do not have access to the same files. Let me calm down. You do not have, as a media member, do not have access to the same files that Doge, Elon, Trump, Pam Bondi, and everybody else has. They see things that you will never be privy to, even if you did a Freedom of Information Act. Well, maybe, but after a while, soon as they finish with all of the criminal cases, or when the criminal cases start happening, they'll start. But yeah, you guys want to drop a FOI, was it Freedom of FOIA? Excuse me, they call them FOIAs. As much as I've watched the Tiffany Henry stuffs or her denying FOIAs, you want to drop a FOIA? Drop a FOIA. We'll show it to you. We'll drop it. We'll show it to you. We're all about transparency. But let us get our criminal cases together first, and then we'll drop your FOIAs. We'll respond to your FOIAs, and you can go from there. Stop trying to tell the White House press secretary that you know more than her. If you don't sit your monkey self down, woo.
Back to the White House briefing. Stephen Miller just taking a question now.
From the media to deport as many illegal aliens as humanly possible. So thank you, and I will promise you that the full might of the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, and every element and instrument of national power will be used to remove, with speed, all criminal illegals from the soil of the United States of America, to enforce final removal orders, and to ensure that this country is for American citizens and those who legally belong in this country. We inherited an ICE that was completely shuttered. We inherited a Department of Homeland Security whose sole mission was to resettle illegal aliens within the United States of America. In 30 days, the president sealed the border shut, declared the cartels to be terrorist organizations, has increased ICE deportations to levels not seen in decades, and we are shortly on the verge of achieving a pace and speed of deportations this country has never before seen.
But it gets good.
And Mike, there have been reports that there's some underground opposition to Trump's pick for Undersecretary of Defense and Policy, Elbridge Colby. Have you or anyone from the administration been personally lobbying senators to support Elbridge Colby?
Look, I've worked with Bridge Colby in the past. He has the president's full support to be the Undersecretary of Policy, which will be a critical policy arm for Secretary Hegseth going forward that will implement a lot of these policies. And really, that's been to the extent of it. I think there's been a lot of kind of, breathless, back and forth in the press, but we're full speed ahead to get the president's team in place so we can implement his America First policy.
Thank you.
Mike has spoken pretty extensively. Does anybody have questions for Stephen or for Mr. Hassett? Nobody wants to talk about the economy?
Yeah.
Sure. IRS? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, what you got questions?
One of you. So,
you got questions?
we reported, several other outlets have reported that about 3,500 people are due to be lose their jobs at the IRS by the end of the week. If the goal of these spending cuts across the federal government has been to reduce the debt, why impose some of the deepest cuts we've seen so far at the agency responsible for raising revenue for the federal government?
Well, I think our objective is to make sure that the employees that we pay are being productive and effective. And there are many, more than 100,000 people working to collect taxes, and not all of them are fully occupied. And the Treasury Secretary is studying the matter and feels like 3,500 is a small number, and probably can get bigger, especially as we improve the IT at the IRS. And so I think that it's absolutely something that is on the table for good reasons. And the point is that don't just talk about the IRS, talk about all of government. That there are so many places, I live in DC, you maybe live in DC, where you never
understand. When Trump killed that DEI bill, that didn't just open it up for incompetent people who were hired under DEI to be fired. And I know the first thing y'all think of is black people, but again, the majority of people that were hired under DEI practices were white women, and they're gay, counterparts, as in skin color. All right, both male and female, trans people and whatnot. They all were at the front of the line. You were at, well, not you as a black man, but black women were at the back. They got the crumbs. So when they say DEI, stop thinking about it as a racial thing, because it's not. It's a lie. DEI is a smokescreen for Democratic white women who are unskilled or silly and incompetent. Blue hair, nose rings, tattoos, can't type for lick. People who barely hold on to a fast food job. People who got degrees in liberal arts and women's studies and gender studies. I mean, like, it was them that occupied the majority of these jobs, not black people. So get that DEI, oh, it's racist. Get that through your head. Had nothing to do with you. You were just put out in front, just like the feminist movement. Your women, well, excuse me, black women were put out in front, but they weren't the ones who benefited from it. If anything, they lost. White women were collecting checks and going home and laying up with their husband, kissing them on the cheek while she signed the check over to him, or threw it in their joint bank account. Like, come on. Y'all got to stop thinking that DEI is racist. He got rid of that's racist. No, it wasn't. It was a scam.
Nobody's going to the buildings. People aren't commuting because nobody's doing their job. We look back and we see that there are all these people doing two jobs while they're getting a government payroll on the payroll. So the point is, we're fixing that, and the IRS is a small part of that picture.
So you're saying that everybody who's being let go was doing a bad job?
Thank you.
I'm saying that we're studying every agency and deciding who to let go and why, and we're doing so very rationally with a lot of support from analysis.
Because we're being told by a lot of people who have been let go at other agencies that they were told they were being dismissed because of poor performance, when in some cases they haven't even had a performance review yet because they've only been on the job a couple of months.
Yeah, I've never seen a person who was laid off for poor performance say that they were performing poorly. Okay.
Good point. Sure.
Last one hired, first one fired.
Thank you for being here. And I've got a question for Mr. Waltz. On these potential checks that you might send out from Doge, is there a concern as you're thinking through this that they could be inflationary?
Oh, absolutely not. Because imagine if we don't spend government money and we give it back to people.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut her off, but this chick, she's a riot because she is incredibly stupid and inflammatory. But man, I have to give it to her. She makes great content. Let's go. I'm sorry.
A question for Mr. Waltz. On these potential checks that you might send out from Doge, is there a concern as you're thinking through this that they could be inflationary?
Oh, absolutely not, because
she's talking about the checks. I misunderstood it. They're planning on, to me, it's a stimulus. To me, it's a stimulus. They're planning on giving us a quote unquote stimulus of $5,000. I thought it was 15, which would have been great. But it looks like they're going to give us a stimulus of $5,000 if you're a taxpayer. Now, I know I've been saying hold off on paying your taxes to April 14th. I mean, I'm just being funny about it. If you're getting money back, go ahead, pay your taxes. If you file it and they be like, well, you owe us this money, just sit back and wait, see what they do. Sit back and wait, and till Donald Trump said he'll have everything figured out probably by the 2nd of April or whatever. But I would sit back and wait and see what they do after you file your taxes, whether you owe or you getting a check. Just do it, sit back and wait. Try not to get caught up in a penalty, if it's after April 15th that you need to pay it, whatever. But sit back and wait. Some good things is happening.
Imagine if we don't spend government money and we give it back to people, then if they spend it all, then you're even. But they're probably going to save a lot of it, in which case you're reducing inflation. And also, when the government spends a lot, that's what creates inflation. We learned that from Joe Biden. And so if we reduce government spending, then that's reduces inflation. And if you give people money, then they're going to save a bunch of it. And when they save it, then that also reduces demand and reduces inflation.
Okay, so you're not worried about it. And Mr. Waltz, to follow up on Peter's question, you wrote in an op-ed in the fall of 2023 that quote, Putin is to blame. Certainly, like Al-Qaeda was to blame for 9/11. Do you still feel that way now, or do you share the president's assessment as he says Ukraine is to blame for the start of this war?
Well, it shouldn't surprise you that I share the president's assessment on all kinds of issues. What I wrote as a member of Congress was as a former member of Congress. Look, what I share the president's assessment on is that the war has to end. And what comes with that? What comes with that should be, at some point, elections. What comes with that should be peace. What comes with that is prosperity that we've just offered in this natural resources and economic partnership arrangement, an end to the killing, and European security and security for the world. The president's not only determined to do that in Europe, he's determined to do it in the Middle East. And just a few months ago, we had an administration that had tried for 15 months, week after week, sitting with you here and couldn't get us to a ceasefire, couldn't get our hostages out. Now we're at that point. We're back to maximum pressure on Iran, and we have just begun, and we will drive towards a ceasefire and all of those other steps. I'm not going to pre-negotiate or get ahead of the sequencing of all of that. It's a very delicate situation, but this is a president of peace, and who here would argue against peace?
Okay, so you do.
So when he wrote that op-ed, I mean, it was under the Biden administration. So he'd have called holy hell if he would have told the truth, because come to find out, Donald Trump was right. They had a peace agreement on the table. Zelensky failed to accept it. He declined the peace agreement. So therefore, the war escalated. So Trump is right. Yeah, this is Zelensky's fault. You could have ended this war. You should have sat down and talked with Russia from the get-go. Because all of this is really about money. I know we keep using wheat, but it's more than that. It's way much more than that. But he should have sat down with Putin face to face and talked to him. But instead, he got to talking to the Biden administration. And now you've got millions dead. He's looking at prison time, be it in the U.S. or in Russia. Look, let's not be fooled. This dude looking at prison time. He bucking up against what Trump is saying. Trump is about to run an audit on him. He claiming he don't know where the money at. You really think he gonna walk away unscathed? He is not going to be on the streets of America or anywhere else. Raindrops keep falling on my head. No. He gonna either wind up behind bars or taking the eternal celestial dirt nap when it's all over. When it's all over, because he is a moron. Oh, he's a moron. But yeah, this guy, of course, he knows that Zelensky is responsible for this. It could have been over. It never should have even started. If Biden wasn't so out to lunch, all of this could have been solved. All it took was some big balls. It took manhood to sit down and talk this out and get it over with. Shoot, Ukraine is getting, look, once Trump and Putin finish their talks, once they come to a deal and the United States, Tulsi Gabbard and them run an audit on Zelensky, Ukraine is going to make more money than they ever thought that they would have, even though they might have to do like a three-way split between them, US, and Russia, possibly 4 with the UK, depending. Because that whole UK and Russia thing, the United States is like, we're not in that. That's on y'all. That's between you, Zelensky, and Russia. We getting our money. We gonna get our money. All right, we gonna get our money. But if Zelensky, if he don't tell the UK to back the hell off, but the UK wants to know, well, where's our cut coming from? Is it coming from you, Zelensky, or is it coming from Russia? So we get our cut from Ukraine or Russia, or you two can combine it and we can get our cut. But nobody fears the UK. Even though the UK has the UN on their side, trust me, Putin is not afraid of the UK. He is not afraid of the UN. The UK has nothing to offer nobody but stolen African art. Okay, stolen African art. They have nothing. Blow that little piece of crap off the map. Think he worried about them? UK better sit down. That's why they need help from NATO. That's why they need help from NATO, because they have nothing. It's a barren wasteland. I don't even know why well, I mean, I know why they got the migrants in their country. It's to tear it down. Good job, Soros and BlackRock. It's to tear their countries down in other countries under the crown, like Canada and Denmark and Australia, who seems to be fighting back to some degree, and Germany and whatnot.
Share that assessment. And can I follow up? In 2017, then President Trump.
Go ahead.
Can I just
Jordan,
totally?
you just had 2 questions, Kate.
Meg,
Jordan,
just
go ahead.
Mr.
I have an
Hassett.
important follow-up.
Jordan, go ahead.
So, Mr. Hassett, you were speaking about tariff revenue, and you also addressed a question about the IRS. President Trump has spoken about replacing income tax with tariff revenue, especially with all this waste, fraud, and abuse that we're seeing cut. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. And in fact, if you think about the China tariff revenue that we're estimating is coming in from the 10% that we just added, plus the de minimis thing, that it's between 500 billion.
Hold on. To answer your question, you said, can the government employee be fired at will, even if there's a contract? I think so. And even if you sue them, you still not getting your job back. Here's $15,000. Shut the hell up. Get the hell on. You still not coming back. And you going to blow through that money. We going to get it right back. Because you're going to go out and buy you a new car and some clothes and some shoes and a purse and some makeup and some weave. And we're going to get all the money back in tariffs. All right, please, here, we'll give you $1 million. We'll still get it back. We'll have it back within 6 months, because we know how you morons live.
And $1 trillion over 10
back
years.
this up. I'm sorry.
Coming in.
I know people don't want to hear that, but the truth is the truth. If I gave you $10,000 right now, how quickly will you run through it? Just by catching up on stuff, buying new furniture, you know what I'm saying? Updating your car or getting your car fixed, or, stuff like that. New appliances, updating your wardrobe. You know what I'm saying? Because when I do the money show, y'all don't show up. Very few of y'all show up when I used to do my money shows. Very few of y'all showed up. So I know you're gonna burn right through it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult you or whatnot, but I mean the numbers speak for themselves. The spending habits speak for themselves. That's why I say reparations would be great for the American economy. I would give it $5 million a year. $5 million, $1 million a year. All the black people over 18 that are ADOS. You see American prosperity for at least 10 to 15 years easy, because you'll give it right back. And there's nothing wrong with that. Can't take it with you. Might as well improve your life. Just don't spend it all.
Revenue that we're estimating is coming in from the 10% that we just added, plus the de minimis thing, that it's between 500 billion and $1 trillion over 10 years is our estimate. And that's something that is outside of the reductions that markets are seeing through the negotiations up on the Hill. And so we expect that the tariff revenue is actually going to make it much easier for Republicans to pass a bill. Exactly. And that was the president's plan all along.
And then I have a question for Stephen Miller about Doge. So you spoke about Doge. You said roughly $50 billion is set to be cut in a year of waste, fraud, and abuse by unelected bureaucrats. We're hearing this ironic narrative from the president's critics and the left-wing media that Elon Musk is an unelected bureaucrat. He's doing all this terrible stuff. Isn't one of Doge's objectives to get rid of the federal bureaucracy, the deep state? And also, who was running the White House when Joe Biden was in office? Because I don't know a single person who believes it was Joe Biden.
You're tempting me to say
he was listening to Lindy Lee.
Harsh things about some of our media friends. Yes, it is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, which is one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers of the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people. Thank you.
Got me fucked up. Got me fucked up. Got me fucked up. Got me fucked up.
Did I avoid the snow tag?
Thank you.
I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Cloud.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For far too long, DC politicians have gotten away with measuring their personal value and worth by how much of other people's money they give away.
Hold on, let me spec that
Gentleman
up.
from Texas, Mr. Cloud.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For far too long, DC politicians have gotten away with measuring their personal value and worth by how much of other people's money they give away. And for far too long, they self-righteously have opined that this spending was for altruistic purposes given out of care and compassion. For far too long, they've been more concerned with looking like they cared than having enough care and concern to actually do the due diligence to ensure that the tax dollars were being used wisely and effectively. And for far too long, those of us who've worked to uncover waste, fraud, and abuse have had to deal with what amounts to an unconstitutional fourth branch of permanent bureaucracy that has too often worked to ignore, obfuscate, delay, and frustrate our efforts to bring transparency and oversight. Over the last few weeks, the DOGE effort has begun to uncover not only how massive the waste, fraud, and abuse is, but also the extent at which DC politicians and too many obstinate bureaucrats have coordinated to create what is essentially the largest money laundering scheme in history. And while Americans have been working to make ends meet, they have been using taxpayer dollars to fund unnecessary, egregious, and even evil things here at home and around the world. Thankfully, in DOGE, we have a president bringing the leadership needed and a focused effort, along with the talent, technology, tools, and transparency to this waste, fraud, and abuse. And to those who would stand opposed to this effort, I would just point out, while it's understandable to find waste, fraud, and abuse that has grown and metastasized in this government even over decades, certainly accelerated over the last few years, to continue to protect it is corruption. I want to thank the chair for beginning this war on waste on this side of Pennsylvania Avenue and bringing together this committee. This effort is so important as we work to relieve the Americans, people of this burden of waste, fraud, and abuse. Mr. Talco, you mentioned in your written statement and talked about it in your statement at the beginning that this waste, fraud, and abuse is a national security threat. And certainly one of the challenges facing us, it is a national security threat, is our fiscal situation. And so we have got to find ways to find savings to the American people in order to bring confidence to the bond markets, to put our country on a fiscal footing, and to reverse the curse, so to speak, that we are placing on our children and our grandchildren. You mentioned a couple threats, though. You mentioned internal threats. You said that these cases involve government employees, individuals entrusted with administering benefits who, instead of using their positions to approve fraudulent claims, override security controls, or even sell sensitive claimant information for profit. Now, this is not every federal employee for sure, but within the context of people who are trying to give their best effort, we have an internal threat. But you also mentioned transnational fraud rings, terrorist organizations, nation states, North Korea, nuclear weapons programs funded by our tax dollars, China, Nigeria, Iran, Romania, Russia, not our friends necessarily, that are being funded by taxpayer dollars. Could you give us some examples of how this is happening?
Yeah. So when you think about what happened during the pandemic, $1 trillion.
You know he got beat up in school.
70% of that money went overseas. And I can give you some examples. In a Western state, they had more people applying for unemployment insurance benefits than they had individuals over 18. The people that were stealing the money from Romania were using it to facilitate other fraud schemes that include fentanyl, that include doing things to impact our democracy. On the insider threat, right, the first thing you have to say, and my dad was a public servant, is 99% of people that work in the public sector are honest, hardworking individuals. But there are some, and what you need is data and technology to root that out. There were examples during the pandemic. There were some examples even of last week where people got into the Medicaid system in a Western state and stole $50 million in less than 4 months. So you have to have these controls in place, right? These aren't individuals stealing, Mr. McLeod. These are organized criminal groups, both domestic and transnational.
As you mentioned, taxpayers are being forced to fund the demise of our own country. Mr. Winston, I wanted to ask you, because there's a lot of talk about reconciliation right now. You mentioned Medicaid and what could be done to bring a pretty substantial amount of savings. And this is without affecting those who truly need Medicaid and for what the purpose of the program was extended for. Now,
the gentleman's time has expired.
Hopefully.
A federal judge has ruled. All right, before we get into that, I want to talk about what the statement you said here. You say Trump wants to break NATO. Without this Ukraine war to unite them, they will splinter like Britain and Brexit. Right. I'll tell you right now, without the United States backing them up, NATO is it's like having a bunch of junior high school students. Let's say like you have 5 junior high school students coming to fight you, and you like 6'2", 280. You know, 6'2", 230. You rippling muscles. Oh, you a haymaker king. You a knockout king. You got a bunch of 13 and 14-year-old boys, like 5 or 6 of them, running up on you. So, what's up, cuz? What up, cuz? Taking their shirts off, acting like they tough. Like, that's civics class. I love it. Yeah, that's NATO without the U.S. That's NATO without the U.S. calling themselves going up against Russia, because understand the reason why they haven't used tactical nukes on Ukraine, because they know it will be on and popping right then. The war will be on and popping. But if the U.S. and Russia make a deal with what's going on with Ukraine, and then you have the UK coming in with NATO trying to pick a fight over their cut of the money. First and foremost, Zelensky will be removed shortly after that deal is going to be made. That's the whole purpose of Tulsi Gabbard. They're going to go off the end. Her job is to round up and neutralize, by hook or crook, these fentanyl dealers, the cartel over in Mexico. All right, she's the international police. That's her job. All these countries, United States, Tulsi Gabbard is going to handle them. It's going to be a lot of lot of bodies falling into graves that they've dug for themselves. No mobs, no mobs. Boop. It's going to be a lot of them. It's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of that. And all he has to say is DEI is racist against blacks. I'm telling you, they are not. Trump is not playing. He is running this stuff like a benevolent dictator, aka gangster. He gonna handle business. Everybody that he nominated is all about handling business. You understand? They're here to get the money right, get the criminals out of government. All right, they're here to take ass and kick names. For those of you who watch Guardians of the Galaxy, and yes, that's a snowman tax. But yeah, they're not playing. I don't know why people, especially my brothers, my black brothers, what the hell makes you think this man is playing with people? He's not playing. He is not playing around. And I don't know why you angry and scared and spending talking with your mama's mouth, thinking with your mama's brain. You know, you're not, I'm sorry, are you losing a welfare check? Are you losing your Section 8 voucher? You losing your food stamps? And why you can't get your kid babysitted? What the hell is you tripping for? What is you tripping for? This is Biden's administration was not for you. It was an effeminate administration. Effeminate. It was welfare queens and homosexuals on steroids. That was the government we was dealing with the past 4 years. That's over with. It's a return to manhood. And I know a lot of y'all don't know what manhood looks like. This is what, and I'm not insulting y'all. I'm not insulting y'all. If you feel insulted, then here, put some odor eaters on and some comforters and walk in them damn shoes. But I'm telling you, this is what manhood looks like. This is what manhood gets done. It gets stuff done. It doesn't sit back and, well, we let the men in dresses, they can go in the bathroom and swim with the women. No, that's not manhood. Them days is over with. Easily, it looks like for the next 12 years, hopefully. If not 16 or 20. Till I die. But yeah, they're not playing around. Yeah, they give a damn. They care less about Thor Infinity Wars. Thor called them morons. Right. You guys are morons. TMI. Thor called them morons. Like, goodbye, morons. You can't be morons all your life. You gotta grow up. You gotta grow up. You can't be running around here like unconsciously and you talking about the blacks women's. Dude, them chicks don't even like you. You getting low value coochie off TikTok. The hell out of here by catering. It's the problem. Too many of y'all trying to, you shame Derrick Jackson, but you going the same route. You just don't know it.
That the administration can continue its mass firings of federal employees. This is really important. In the wake of that ruling, the administration moved forward with a massive cut at the IRS, 6,000 agents fired. Trump's Economic Council Director, Kevin Hassett, he spoke after that announcement. Listen to what he had to say.
Well, I think our objective is to make sure that the employees that we pay are being productive and effective. The point is that don't just talk about the IRS, talk about all of government. That there are so many places. I live in DC. You maybe live in DC where nobody's going to the buildings. People aren't commuting because nobody's doing their job. We look back and we see that there are all these people doing 2 jobs while they're getting a government payroll on the payroll. So the point is we're fixing that, and the IRS is a small part of that picture.
We keep saying it, but it's true. The floodgates are now open. It appears no agency is safe. Now listen to what Elon Musk said about uncovering all that government waste.
People ask me, what's the most surprising thing that you've encountered when you go to DC, when you're in DC? And I said, well, the most surprising thing is
I remember this guy.
Of the expenditures.
Not Elon, but the guy who was left.
How easy it is to, when you add caring and competence where it was absent before, you can actually save billions of dollars, sometimes in an hour.
Yeah.
Understand, the last time Elon was on this stage, he told Bob Iger to go F himself. And Bob Iger was there in the audience. He was, I think it was a year ago. He told Bob Iger to go F himself. I mean, he said the word. He cursed him out like he didn't care. He cursed him out.
It's wild. But obviously, it just shows that they really lack empathy for the average taxpayer who's working hard, paying taxes.
Yeah, they make sure when they go to
and then they say, $1 million doesn't matter. I'm like, I think it matters a lot.
Not for no $20.
So what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Okay, Steve Hilton joins me now. Steve, has the Musk-Trump avalanche of action overwhelmed the Democrats?
Yes, but it needs to keep going. By the way, Stuart, don't make me say the Bond thing. I don't want to do that this morning.
Okay.
But I do have a vote for who it should be, the next one. I think a more experienced, kind of grizzled kind of Bond, if I may put it like that. Stuart Varney. I think that would be very good for the future of the franchise.
At my age.
Oh, what they're talking about, just the entertainment news. I forget which company it was, but they bought the studio that produces James Bond movies, and they overpaid by like a couple $2 billion because they wanted to own the Bond franchise. Oh, Amazon bought the studio that produces James Bond movies. So from what I understand, Amazon is worse than Netflix when it comes to, like all that DEI garbage. So we'll see.
I couldn't do those stunts, I just couldn't do that. Out of the question.
I don't know. You're very sprightly. Look, I think Elon captured it perfectly. For so long, we've had people in charge of the government, whether that's the politicians or the bureaucrats, who don't realize that it's our money. They don't behave as if it's money that they need to be careful with and make sure you get the best value from it. And so what you've seen year after year is taxpayers seeing their taxes go up and up and up in all sorts of different ways, all the different forms of tax they're paying. And yet the services they get from the government in exchange seem to get worse and worse. And now we're seeing why. Because so much of our money is going into things that it wasn't designed for. So partly that can be explained by pure incompetence and the word we use, waste, where it's just they don't know what's happening, they're incompetent, they can't manage it properly, it's going to people who it shouldn't go to, people who are long dead, false claims, all that kind of stuff. But there's another category which I think is bigger, which is going to things that don't make sense, that are wrong, that are actively chosen. Yeah. These things are deliberate.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Not as far as like fighting. I mean, let's be honest. You said, wouldn't it be wild if the U.S. allies with Russia publicly against Europe? That's a possibility. Of course, Trump is a Russian asset. No. You have to understand, there are two big dogs as far as weaponry on the block. Okay? Two big dogs when it comes to weaponry on the block. It's Russia and the U.S. Russia has 10 times more nuclear bombs than the U.S. did. All they did was produce nuclear bombs. You understand? They got plenty of territory to hold it and everything. You say RFK sent out a declaration defining a woman and man. Well, he's like a month or the week too late, but okay. But no, seriously, the U.S. and Russia, they're going to carve out their deal with Ukraine, with Ukraine's resources as far as their cut. Their cut, Russia's cut, Ukraine's cut. When the UK called themselves getting involved with the UN, trying to have them back them up, the junior high schoolers with their shirts off, showing off their bird chests, acting like they tough. Russia gonna smack them down. Russia's going to smack them down. They're going to smack them down. And they're not going to smack them down in Ukraine. They're going to smack them down in Europe. This is what, look. This is why J.D. Vance went to Munich and told them, look, we do not have your back unless you change your ways as a country. Yeah, unless you change your ways as a country, when you get into some squabbles, do not look to us unless you're going to pay us to come and provide protection and services. If you're not going to pay us for our services, and you still run around here letting grape gangs attack your citizens, your women, if you still throwing people in prison for speaking out against it, do not look to us to help you. You're on your own. This is why somebody was saying, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if over in the EU, somebody with, another funny mustache type of guy, who's country first, blonde hair, blue eyes. Wouldn't be surprised if another one of those type of leaders popped up. Wouldn't be surprised, because this is how you got a funny mustache guy. But what was going on in Germany back in the late 20s, early 30s? You're like, hold on, we losing our country to these folks. We're being invaded, but for them it was being invaded financially and then socially. When they talk about how, how they burned the books, they didn't burn books for the sake of burning them. They burned them because they weren't written in German. Do you understand? Their society was being polluted and perverted by another culture, and old funny mustache wasn't putting up with it. The citizens weren't putting up with it, just like we weren't putting up with it. That's why Trump won in a landslide. This is how these things happen. Again, like I said, be lucky that Trump is a benevolent businessman that is American first, and he's really not the racist, fascist, etc. that they were trying to call him. The Democratic Party was trying to call him, because they already knew what he was going to do. They already knew he was going to come in and do an audit and start throwing their butts in jail. He already knew that. They already knew that. Again, this is why Kash Patel was the last piece of the puzzle that the Democrats tried to stall out. And as you saw, what's his name? Not Schumer, the old guy that retired. I forget his name. Mitch McConnell. That's why he went ahead. He voted for him, and then he's like, "I'm done. I'm not running for re-election." Like, dude, in all honesty, you need to cut down. But it would just look too bad, because he too. You make $197,000 a year, Mitch McConnell, but you got tens of millions of dollars in your bank account. Where did this money come from? You didn't do that many goddamn speaking fees. You say last year a client finally received his refund from 2020. Damn. Woo! I know he was happily hot. I knew he was happily hot. Happily hot. I needed that money, but dang it, I needed that money 45 years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if they allied with Russia as far as verbally, like, hey, look, we made our deal with Russia. I don't know what the hell the EU was doing. They need to sit down and talk with Putin and whoever becomes the new president or leader of Ukraine, because Zelensky is probably going to be gone. I seriously get the feeling after America and Russia make their deal and tell Zelensky this is what's up, and then Tulsi Gabbard get over there with her team, that's going to be it for Zelensky. That's going to be it for him. They're going to have a whole new leader. So the UK might as well hold off and wait until they get a new leader. What you think you're going to do? You really think you're going to hold Zelensky in office, trying to make some type of criminal deal where he get a kickback in his pocket. That's not going to happen. The U.S. nor Russia is going to let it happen. How you going to stop them? What you going to do? You going to fight them? Man, please. You messing with the big dogs. Y'all are little fish. The UK used to be the big fish, but y'all are not. The queen is dead. And when the queen dead, y'all lost so much power and control. Woo. But it was happening anyway. She was an old broad. You know, that's the whole thing. I mean, not to really get into it, but to get into it. That's the whole thing with Prince Harry messing around with Meghan Markle. They like, are you serious? You messing around with this, you know, freaking modern day hippie chick? This chick is a D-list actress. She's a yacht girl. And if you're not familiar with what a yacht girl is, you pretty much say she's a prostitute on the water. When they talk about the Diddy parties, the chick that says that she was on a boat and Diddy's son raped her and everything. Yeah, like because you were on the yacht. You're a yacht girl. Everybody is fair game, quote unquote. It's like being on Epstein Island. Everybody was fair game, quote unquote. One reporter said undercover reporter said he went into a shed. It was late at night, and one of the women that worked there, she was in tears while being forced to fillet some dude who had this special tattoo on his back, which turned out to be a U.S. congressman or senator or something like that. Yeah, she was in full uniform. She was forced to give him oral sex. Yeah, that's what Meghan Markle was. She was a yacht girl. I guess apparently Prince Harry found out that her mouth can do things that nobody else's mouth could do. So he went ahead and put a ring on it. And look how she pretty much destroyed his legacy. I mean, he's pretty much casted out of the royal family. Like, dude, are you serious? Do you know how much power and prestige you tossed away messing around with a prostitute? Messing around with a prostitute. You got pretty much kicked out of the royal family. They don't even invite you to weddings and stuff. But now they're getting a divorce. He realized that he chose the wrong chick. She done sank so many projects. They sat up here and tried to play the whole, you know, the royal family is racist. Yeah. Fool. Got pictures of you doing a Nazi salute. What are you talking about? You married this chick? This wannabe white mulatto that black women was claiming left and right until she did. Wait, oh God, woo! All that chick wanted to do was be famous. She didn't give a damn about nobody but herself. And she's a moron. So many reports out on her. Good role for Jonathan Majors, 007. Oh, you make a good 007. D actress for sure. Giggity. Giggity. Yeah, she's a D actress, all right. Am I done yet? You'll know. You'll know. All right, let's get back to it. It's Friday night. I'm having fun. Let's go.
And those need to be stopped as well. And there's one final point I'd make, which I think is absent from this whole conversation. The 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment of our Constitution says clearly that things that are not specifically in the Constitution should be left, quote, to the states respectively or to the people. Huge chunks of the federal government, in my view, should never be there at all. So it's not a question of just trimming it back. It's not just the education department, housing and urban development, for example. Why do we even have a federal department for that at all? So as far as I'm concerned, close the whole thing down, fire the people, sell the buildings, return the power and the money to the states.
Oh, a radical Steve Hilton this morning. So let me ask you how you feel about this one. Some Republicans want America to withdraw from the United Nations. You've been involved in politics for a long time. Would you be in favor of pulling out of the UN? And if we did, how would the world react?
Well, there'd be horror, of course. I've been a fierce critic of the United Nations. I've done lots of investigation into the terrible corruption. You have all these officials at the UN living it up in 5-star hotels and first-class travel. Again, all at our expense. And by the way, it really is our expense.
Stop. Remember I told y'all to invest? I mean, for those of y'all who like be doing the money shows with me, look at that. See, look at that. Bitcoin is up. Ethereum is up, and this was 7 hours ago. See how this money is growing? And I told y'all can get Bitcoin and Ethereum off of Venmo. Free app, free money transfer app. They do Bitcoin, Ethereum, and hold on, let me fire it up. Yeah, and it grew too. Yep. Yes, it did. Looks pretty nice. Looking pretty nice. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. I just work here. Anyway.
First-class travel, again, all at our expense. And by the way, it really is our expense. The vast proportion of the UN's budget is paid for by America. And what are the results? I mean, where is anything better? If we want to help the rest of the world, and especially developing nations, poor countries, then we should be focusing on the things that help countries become rich and successful. Property rights, the rule of law, a free press, all those institutions of strong, free market economies and strong, free societies. That's what we should be focused on. But the people at the UN don't believe in any of that. They believe in government solving all these problems, bureaucracy solving all these problems, and it just doesn't work.
Steve Hilton, you're on a roll. Keep it going. We'll see you again real soon, Steve Hilton.
All right, so let's get this out the way.
This is really difficult to report. So let me quote directly.
I'm going to say this right now, ahead of this story, because I'm just going to let it roll to try to save some time. But when Hamas releases all of the hostages, because I see what they're doing, they're slowly releasing hostages. Meanwhile, you having certain people of Hamas, they're escaping through their escape routes, all right? Because they know that they're going to face punishment. They know they're going to face punishment, so they're on the run. So they're slowly releasing hostages, trading people back, and they're quickly getting the hell up out of there. You know, it's like a slow operation. You give us these people, we give you these people. Meanwhile, we got these people escaping out the back door. After this situation right here, I mean, let's just be honest. It has nothing to do with me kissing white butt or nothing like that. It's just, hey, look, take that crap out of it. The simple fact that you had dead babies, 2 dead babies. You see, they leading off with this. There is nowhere on earth that these Hamas leaders, soldiers, I was just following orders. Well, now your order is to dig your own grave and turn around and face the music. Pat, there's nowhere in hell they can hide. They will dig up rocks, trees, file cabinets, everything. They will turn over the earth to find every single last member of Hamas. But do understand that you had silly black people and goofy whites destroying whole college campuses and blocking New York streets for these people. So let's go.
The IDF spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, quote, "Contrary to Hamas's lies, Ariel and Kafir were not killed in an airstrike. Ariel and Kafir Bibas were murdered in cold blood by terrorists. The terrorists did not shoot the 2 young boys. They killed them with their bare hands. Afterward, they committed horrific acts to cover up these atrocities." And here's more from the IDF spokesman.
This assessment is based on both forensic findings from the identification process and intelligence that supports the findings. We have shared these findings, intelligence
whether
and
this
forensics,
is true or not, it doesn't
with
matter.
our partners around the world so they can verify it. And their mother. The entire world will know exactly how the Hamas terrorist organization operates. Ariel and Kfir were murdered and then yesterday returned in a cynical and cruel ceremony in Gaza. Shiri Bivas, who was meant to be returned with her children to Israel yesterday as part of the agreement, was not returned by Hamas. Hamas lied and violated the agreement. The body that Hamas falsely claimed was Shiri was not hers and not of any other hostage. Instead, Hamas sent over the body of an anonymous woman. This is a further evidence of Hamas' barbaric cruelty.
I'm joined by CBN's Billy Hollowell. Billy, what are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts on this are, I mean, it's so horrific. It's hard to even have words, right? Because you've had this trauma, this event that is unimaginable. This entire time, the entire world praying for all the hostages, but in particular these children, right? These young children, and hoping and pining and praying that they were alive, and to find out they're not, traumatic enough, bringing back everything from October 7th that has been just so difficult to process. And then to hear these details, these alleged details that these babies were killed, these children were killed with these terrorist bare hands. It is right now, absolutely the most unimaginable evil. And that's the only word that can come to my mind as I think about how any human being could do that to anyone, let alone a child.
I think what this past few days has really brought into absolute clarity is this is not just a military war. This is a PR battle. If you look at this poster that Hamas put up with their last parade, let's call it, it says, quote, "The war criminal Netanyahu and his Nazi army killed them with missiles from Zionist warplanes." They don't care about them at all. This is all PR. They realize just how bad this looks for them, for their audience. What is important for folks to realize is that this whole battle is being waged for a public opinion, and the fact that they were strangled, for lack of a better word, these babies with their bare hands, and then mutilated them to look like they were killed in a war. It shows in such graphic clarity what this actually is. This is a facade to build up emotional support. And you think Hamas cares about the Bibas family? And so I think today, it took a lot of courage for their father to say, you know what? Thank you for this autopsy. I want the world to know. So please share with the world what actually happened to my two little babies. So I think today is just a day for mourning and sadness, but also resolve to not close our eyes to the, keep using this word, PR battle that is this conflict, and to look at everything with not just your physical eyes, if I may, but also spiritual eyes, to discern the heart of what's actually happening here. Does that make sense, Billy?
No, it makes absolute sense, because what we're talking about here, the underpinning of everything you just described, is that this is spiritual in nature. I mean, this is so beyond anything. It is such a heinous evil, right? To be able to do any of this, if we are not understanding the context of what is happening and what is driving it, we're not able to understand what's really going on here. And this is far more than a geographic dispute, a religious dispute, some sort of, this is obviously a historical dispute, but it's also a spiritual one. And you are very literally looking at the battle between good and evil, and you are watching it play out. And the fact that we even have to talk about this it's so traumatic for everyone, but we have to, so that people understand what true evil actually looks like, the face of it. And it is exactly in this story.
As I've talked about with you, Billy, I've been to Israel many times, but terrorist attacks and the intifadas and the stabbings and the rocket attacks but for some reason, not for some reason, a very clear reason, the Bibas family, the news of the Bibas family has rocked and shaken and disturbed and broken and shattered my Israeli friends like nothing I've ever seen. I've talked to them when more people have died, when bigger attacks happen. But this, I've seen grown men weep. I've seen, tough guys speechless. This really has become the most heartbreaking thing I think I've had to watch when it comes to my Israeli friends.
All right. Because we're not going to watch the final 2 minutes and 15 seconds of this, because I mean, you can pretty much see where they're already laying the groundwork. They're already laying the groundwork of how they're going to hunt down Hamas and like shoot them down. They're going to hunt them down like dogs in the street and blow their brains out. They don't care if they have to do it in the middle of public square on 12 o'clock news live. They're going to do it, and people are going to broadcast it. Their bodies will be chopped up and paraded in the streets outside of the Gazian Strip. There's nowhere they can hide. The narrative has been set. Like, hold on, we don't have access to the autopsies. All right, let's just be honest. We don't have access to the autopsies, so we have to go by the narrative, right? We have to go by the narrative, right? Because I mean, if these children were killed in the drone strikes or in the missile strikes, why the hell did you still carry them with you? They're dead bodies. They have no value. You trying to? Well, we still got these hostages. I mean, come on. Corpses stink. That's dead flesh that starts rotting immediately. So you telling me that you've had these dead babies and the mother and some old man, you telling me you had these babies for months, almost a year? Is that what you telling us? You carrying around dead bodies, 4 dead bodies all this time? Of course not. You called yourself sending a message. Oh, you called yourself trying to send a message. And look where they got you. Probably trying to sexually assault the mother. And she didn't want to go for it. So then you started killing the babies to teach her a lesson. Probably. And then you probably raped her to death. No telling. No telling. Ooh. That's why they're sitting up here saying all these college students or whatnot, or people who aren't college students, who just happen to be on college campuses, calling themselves trying to wear a face mask and protest. Oh, the Palestinians. Remember that whole queers for Palestine? Like, you know what? We'll send you to them. How about that? You say the hypocrisy of the war is the IDF is on film bayoneting infants, but that doesn't cover it because it's called anti-Semitism. Oh yeah, I know. Trust me. Look, what they did to the Palestinians as they slowly but surely confiscated their land, I see why Hamas exists. You understand? But that whole region, as we as Black folks, we can understand what's going on. As Native Americans, they went through the same thing. Anybody that went over a hostile takeover of their land, they can understand that. That's why everybody says, like, in all honesty, you should have turned Germany over to the small hats. You should have gave them the country, since Hitler, funny mustache guy. I know I'm probably going to get dinged. Funny mustache guy, since he went overboard with it, they should have gave them Germany, or they should have just built them a whole country unto itself. But because we don't know and we're not in charge, the people that's in charge and the people who watch this stuff, who believe everything that's being said, especially when it's coming out of a network that they watch and trust. Like, it's funny. Like, I was talking to my mother today. She said she started watching Fox News, like not the cable news network, just the regular news network. She was watching. She said, "Man, like, I like the thing." I told her, I said, "That's the stuff I be talking about." She was naming all this stuff. Like, yeah, they got the FBI director and they fired this person. I said, "Yeah, like that. I be talking about that stuff." She stopped watching Democratic news and started watching Fox News, like regular channel Fox News, and was getting more information than she ever thought she would get from just Democratic news stations that a lot of people watch. My point being, people who are watching their regular news, if they get this type of coverage, then of course they are going to be. They're going to be. Like I said, it's almost like Dr. Fauci when they release the findings of the full effects, side effects of the COVID-19 vaccination. There's nowhere on earth you can hide. Nowhere on earth you can hide. Whether you agree with what happened or not, there's nowhere on earth that the people in charge are going to be able to hide. Let's get to that fire chief being fired.
Fire department. I just met with Chief Crowley and removed her as fire chief. I have appointed a 41-year veteran of the fire department, former Chief Deputy Ronald Villanueva, as interim fire chief.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
He is respected and ready to hit the ground
But it
running.
looked like it might be
so
over.
Let me be clear. Our firefighters acted heroically during the Palisades fire, and they act heroically every single day. That is without question. Bringing new leadership to the fire department is what they and the people of Los Angeles deserve. As you know, I have called for a full investigation of everything leading up to January 7th. A necessary step to the investigation was the president of the Fire Commission telling Chief Crowley to do an after-action report on the fires. The fire chief refused. We all know that 1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch. These actions required her removal. While the department is in the experienced and expert hands.
Stop. Time out. Hold on, chick. Let me get this straight, because I heard what you just said. I heard exactly what you just said, and I know y'all heard it too. You're telling me that not only was, because let's back it up, not only was the reservoirs, the reserves, the tanks, well, not only were they empty because of a little rip in the cover, not only were they empty, and let's be honest, the California Light and Power, whoever the hell they are with those energy towers, they paid Gavin Newsom under the table to look the other way concerning their safety regulations. The understanding is that there was one of the towers was sparking. Trump told you, well, not you, but he told Gavin Newsom's, trying not to call him too foul of a name, California self, told him to rake the forest, clean up the forest. That way you can mitigate the fires that you guys have yearly. Clean it up to mitigate the damage. He refused to do it, turned a blind eye. The tower sparked, it started a fire. Hundreds of people, hundreds of homes were burned down. And you're telling us that the week that it happened, wait, when did you say that happened? Hold on, when did you say it happened? When did you say it happened?
As you know, I have called for a full investigation of everything leading up to January 7th. A necessary step to the investigation was the president of the Fire Commission telling Chief Crowley to do an after-action report on the fires. The fire chief refused. We all know that 1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch.
You're telling me that doesn't sound like a conspiracy? You say, but dozens of Christians were abducted and hung in the Congo this week, and other people on the mainstream news. You got to send me that story, Jibba. You have to send me that story. Just post the title. Go into my not my comments, but go into my community tab up under my last post and just post the name of the article, the title of the article. I'll Google it and we'll talk about it tomorrow. I promise you. So you're telling me that the fire chief not only refused to do the inspection or whatnot, refused to do the report, but she sent MFers home shortly before the fire started? If that don't sound like a conspiracy to clear land to start Project LA 2028, y'all sitting up here talking about Project 2025. What about Project 2028 going on out in LA where Gavin Newsom was on the news just dancing, talking about it? Shortly, he was dancing. We all saw it. Oh yeah, we're gonna do this for Project 2028. We're gonna get LA's gonna get this and that and that. And it was like, hold on, well, where's the land gonna come from for this project? Oh, we got the land. That's why we trying to stall out the homeowners here in LA. Palisades, that's prime real estate. The hell with the black area over there across the street. The Palisades is the prime real estate. We stall these people out for 18 months, eventually take their land from them. They're going to wind up moving somewhere else. We're going to keep stalling them out with permits, inspections, all of that. Well, we only got like a few permit people, few inspectors. You might have to wait another 2 years because we got to take reports and jiggle some water in the can. No. That's why Trump was like, the hell with you. I want it done now, tonight. The hell you mean you got to test for toxins? These people been having these houses up there 20, 30 years. Suddenly now, what's toxic? Grandma's lamp that was sitting on the dining room table? What is she talking about? What's toxic? Like, you don't want to hear that. Y'all trying to steal the whole set that y'all knew them fires was going to happen. You let the fires happen. You burn down them people's houses. Let them burn down by keeping the reservoirs empty. You right there on the edge of the freaking. You're sitting there you're on the ocean. What you mean you ain't got no water? That's not the biggest crock of bullshit I ever heard in my fucking life. Yeah, them Stillman taxes intentionally. The hell you mean you ain't got no goddamn water? That's why Kash Patel, the first thing he gonna do is they're gonna do is do an investigation on her and him. Y'all going to jail. Y'all going to jail. You're going to jail. Yeah, y'all going to jail. Y'all ain't getting no reprieve or step down. You're going to jail. Trump gonna have y'all prosecuted. Watch.
These actions required her removal.
People's
While the department is in the experienced and expert hands of Chief Villanueva, my office will lead a national search, and I will speak directly with firefighters and Angelenos about what they want to see in the next fire chief. I will use a similar process as I did in searching for our police chief.
That's criminal
negligence. The business
negligence.
of the fire department and the city will continue. Our heroic firefighters are on the job in our firehouses, engines, trucks, and ambulances.
Criminal negligence.
The recovery of the Palisades is months ahead of expectations. Los Angeles is moving forward on all fronts, and we will keep moving forward together. I'd now like to introduce the chief of the Los Angeles Fire Department, Ronnie Villanueva.
I don't even care to hear what he got to say. I don't even care what he has because he's going to say a lot of political mumbo jumbo. But understand something. Her, Newsom, and the previous fire chief need to go to prison for criminal negligence. Criminal negligence. And the first thing they're going to do, Trump is going to have Pam Bondi, have Kash Patel look into these people's financial records and see. They're going to run an audit. Who's the Secretary of State? I forget his name. They're going to have him. He's running an audit on all. Just so y'all know, Secretary of State is going to run an audit on all of these states. They're going to run an audit on all of these states. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a lot of politicians that's going to be doing some perk walks. I know some of y'all don't want to believe that, but I mean, again, what the hell makes you think these people are playing around with you? I guarantee you, it's going to take them to put the cuffs on somebody that y'all know, put the cuffs on a politician for y'all to understand that this administration is not to be fucked with. That's $4 snowman tax. And yes, y'all can ask him. He'll tell you, I pay my snow tax. This man is not playing with you. This administration is not playing with you. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, who else? Let me get there. Everybody that he has hired. Meanwhile, you're in Ghana. Yeah, meanwhile, she's in Ghana where everything's burning down. Can't wait to see who funded that trip. Unfortunately, you are not Eric Adams. You sitting up there arguing with the president in the press conference. You going back and forth with him to the point where they had to take your mic away. Y'all saw that? They took her like, oh, like, chick, shut the hell up. Took her mic away. Like, why don't you go argue? Why don't you go? Why? Bring it down to 4. Why are you arguing back and forth with the president of the United States? You do understand this is your boss, right? You do understand that you're a dirty bitch, right? I know that's $5. You do understand that, maybe you think that he's just a regular politician who's going to play footsies with you under the table, but no, he's not. He's not a politician. He's a businessman. And y'all pissed him off when you tried to kill him. He is on a vengeance. This is a vengeance tour. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You heard Kash Patel first video. We starting Saturday morning. I wouldn't be surprised if he couldn't sleep right now. Can't sleep. Can't wait to get to work. He already got stuff typed up. He print stuff. He ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he was there at 4 o'clock in the morning. People still vacuuming the daggone carpets. Vacuuming the lobby. He walk in with a team. 4 o'clock in the morning. Let's run an audit. Come on, accountants. Let's run an audit on the IRS. I mean, on the FBI. Let's run an audit on the FBI. Give me personnel files. I need these people personnel files. I know that this person is dirty. Because you at work, you know who's the POS at work who should be fired. You know that, and you know he know that. So all of these people, yeah, these people right here, when they come in, as soon as the secretary come in, the receptionist come in 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, here, look. Here are all the people. Here's a list of names. I want all of these people to report to conference room B when they come in the morning. Call them. We got people calling them up. Yeah, bring your butt in here. We need you here at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, meet us in the auditorium, whatever. All of y'all getting fired. When we're running an audit on the system, we already got former cops, former soldiers, you know what I'm saying, former detectives, whatever. They're all ready to go. They've already turned in when I was getting confirmed or whatnot, they was already turning in their resumes. We gonna fast track this. We make sure we get the best guys we can get. A lot of Democrats going to jail.
This is the Fox 5 News Block.
We're following 2 key stories. A federal judge adjourning Mayor Eric Adams' corruption case, and Luigi Mangione, the accused killer of United Healthcare CEO, is in a Lower Manhattan courtroom right now for a hearing. Good afternoon.
He did all that for nothing.
I am Duarte Geraldino. Welcome to the News Block.
Let's just be honest. Eric Adams, look, he's gonna have some Trump friendly judges. They're gonna probably try to have this tied up until they get rid of Letitia James, Alvin Bragg and Kathy Hochul. They're gonna have this tied up until they get rid of these people. If Eric Adams lose the mayoral race, don't worry, he'll be back. He'll be back. He's gonna win. He'll probably win the Senate seat in New York. Let the heat cool down. He'll win the Senate seat in New York. He might even run for governor. And simply based on what he's doing ever since what I would say about October, August, September of last year, really October, you started seeing the difference with his talk. But now, especially now that Trump is in office, they done cleaned up the streets. People gonna remember that. They gonna remember that, and they gonna overlook him maybe like flying on a luxury jet and staying in a luxury hotel and letting the Turks stay in a luxury building that wasn't, authorized for occupancy. They gonna weigh the good and the bad. I mean, you sit up here, you got these goofballs on 34 felonies. Yeah, but he's president by a sweeping landslide. You really think that the people of New York wouldn't vote for him to be sitting in the Senate seat or the governor's seat after cleaning up New York? The next best thing for him to solidify it, he's got to change those turnstiles. Let me see. Hold on. Because I talked about it, but I like to show y'all. This is how he's going to have to clean. In order for him to clean up New York, I'm going to show you right here. See these turnstiles right here? Or these right here? This is what he's going to have to do. He's going to have, hold on. Let me show y'all. Hold on. He's going to have to install these type of turnstiles. You can no more of the little easy where they can hop over them. He has to clean all that out and do these type of turnstiles. And as you can see, you can do them in rows. These are the perfect rows. The perfect rows. Do these type of turnstiles so people can't jump over the turnstiles. This can be blocked off. You put these turnstiles up in all of the subway exits that are problem areas, bruh, please. He will win New York. He can run for governor. He can run for governor if he put all them turnstiles in. It's going to cost some money, but he has to get the money from the federal government. He got to get the money from Trump. He got to get the money from Trump by getting rid of the illegals. He got to stand firm on that. When Trump started rolling in the money, he has like, look, Trump, look, I need this money to help out the New York transit system. We need to update our transit system in order to make it safe. This is exactly what the money is going to be on. You can give me a government accountant. I don't give a damn. This is what I want to spend the money on, updating our subway system. We need to make the subway safe for New Yorkers. Man, he do that. Like I'm saying, I mean, like I was talking to my boy Mosh when I was saying that he'd probably be good for Chicago. He was like, well, I don't know. People in Chicago, they like they homegrown talent. Yeah, but they homegrown talent are POSs. Brandon Johnson and what was the chick before him? Lori Lightfoot. I mean, the last time they had a good mayor was what? Who's the guy they killed in office that Steve Coakley used to always give hand jobs to? I was like, but the way I see it, you're gonna have to have an outsider that's proven that they can get the job done to come in and clean you up. You're gonna have, especially a black person too. Because I mean, I understand with Chicago, a lot of black folks are afraid that if they recruit a Republican or vote for a Republican in Chicago, he just might be from, not the South Side, one of them racist sides, and might not necessarily be for, trying to at least not be racist towards people of color with racist policies. He say Andy's petty. Yeah. So you need an outsider to come in, and the way I see it, I'm not saying he's wrong. It's just I have a difference of opinion. I feel that you need an outsider to come into Chicago to clean that place up. You need an outsider. But the main thing about it is, in order for you to get an outsider that's actually going to do some good, you got to get rid of the governor and the attorney general. That's why Trump is after Pritzker. You take down Pritzker, the attorney general will eventually step down. He say his clothes are all laid out. You get rid of the attorney general, you vote him out, because I mean, look at what's going on with Tiffany Henyard. I swear to God, she throwing kickbacks upstairs, because how does the governor and the attorney general turn a blind eye to what this chick is doing down there in Dalton and Thornton Township like it's not happening? Yeah, trust me, the Secretary of State, he gonna handle all of that. Kash Patel's FBI, they gonna handle all of that. They gonna clean all of that up. You need an outsider to come into Chicago to clean it up. Whew. But yeah, Eric Adams, ain't nobody gonna be worried about him. He'll be all right. He'll pass it. We'll skip this. Pretty much got the gist of it.
We're hearing about these Doge dividend checks that would be 20% back to taxpayers, 20% to pay down the debt. 60% is left. Who gets that?
When you achieve savings, you can either return it to taxpayers, you can return it to our debtors, or it can be cycled into next year's budget. You can just transfer it into the next fiscal window and then lower the overall spending level. That means that you can achieve a permanent savings that way, and that reduces the deficit.
On these potential checks that you might send out from Doge, is there a concern as you're thinking through this that they could be inflationary?
Oh, absolutely not. And so if we reduce government spending, then that's, reduces inflation. And if you give people money, then they're going to save a bunch of it. And when they save it, then that also reduces demand and reduces
or
inflation.
spend it.
White House officials explaining President Trump's idea to pass Doge's savings onto the American taxpayer. House Speaker Mike Johnson also weighed in, though. Listen to this.
Well, look, I mean, politically, that would be great for us, send everybody a check. But if you think about our core principles, right, fiscal responsibility is what we do as conservatives. That's our brand. And we have a $36 trillion federal debt. We have a giant deficit that we're contending with. I think we need to pay down the credit card, right? That's what I think we need to do.
Joining me now is Missouri Congressman Eric Burlison.
But the thing is, with all of these cuts that they're making in certain departments, giving people, the American people back, as you see, those stimulus checks. Thank you for calling it what it was. This is my first time watching these videos now, but it's definitely a stimulus check. If you cut down all of the federal spending and corruption, the theft and whatnot, and the waste and everything, you'll have enough money. You could actually give people $15,000 back, because you'll have trillions of dollars as we're nearing the $1 trillion mark. As far as savings per day, you'll be able to pay that down. You'll pay that down before 2026, before the deadline. You'll be able to pay that down, especially when they find out what happened to that $4 trillion that just walked out of the Treasury that's quote unquote untraceable. Like, come on now. $4 trillion is not untraceable. They don't care if you didn't write your name on the check. It's not untraceable. It's just not it's untraceable coming from the Department of the Treasury. But outside of the Department of the Treasury, I mean, come on. They're going to see the spike. Even if you split it up, they're going to see the spike in your spending and in your deposits. This is how before, just for the record, just so y'all know, this is how the Treasury Department and the FBI, etc., this is how they were able to track down criminals when it was just a cash society. This was before digital currency. I mean, just watch Dead Presidents. What, remember, not Casino, what was the Goodfellas? When they pulled off the Lufthansa heist? Like, what the hell you mean you bought a car? Your wife's coming in with a fur coat. What are you doing? What are you doing? They're going to be looking for irregular banking deposits and regular deposits, and they're going to be looking for irregular spending habits. Here you are, you make $300,000 a year. Suddenly now you got a house in California in Bel Air, one in New York, one in Florida, one in Atlanta. The hell out of here. You're busted.
Congressman, what is your reaction to that? In particular, Mike Johnson saying, look,
yeah, because I don't hear about Philly subway crime at all.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that we're at a situation where we would love to give the American people a 20% dividend check and send that money back. But we're not in a situation to do that because unless we cut spending, as was mentioned before. And if we don't cut spending, then that money
the
American people would absolutely be inflationary, in my opinion. And so I think that we need to cut spending. The sad part, though, is last night I understand in the Senate that in the Vote-A-Rama, that half of the Republicans rejected an amendment by Rand Paul to cut $1.4 trillion in spending over the next 10 years. So I thought that was a very modest projected cut out of a $89 trillion spend. You can't cut $1.4 trillion. And I would hope that the Senate, Republicans get on board with the idea that we have got to cut spending if we're going to cut inflation.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because overnight, and you're right about Rand Paul, what happened here, and this is the Senate was up all night. This is their Vote-A-Rama. They do this, this happens a lot. But they passed the $345 billion budget blueprint. So it provides border and defense money. That's where the spending is that you're talking about that Rand Paul called out. But President Trump wants the Senate to get behind the House's budget bill, which funds all parts of the agenda. And then he had Vice President Vance talk about it yesterday. So let's listen to this.
Yeah, what did JD
I actually talked to the president about this yesterday, and he said to me, look, it's very rare that you can get two reconciliation bills done in one Congress, which is why he thinks we've got to do a lot with that one big, beautiful bill, that first reconciliation package that we're going to get through the House and the Senate. It's going well. It's early, right? This stuff takes time to put together. I think, if you had a record pace reconciliation bill, we would get this thing done in May or in June. I think we're on track to do that.
I mean, to be clear, and I'm glad you brought this up, $340 billion blueprint. Now, Republican members of the Hispanic Congressional Caucus sent a letter to Speaker Johnson. They're voicing concerns about potential cuts to Medicaid and other essential programs in the budget, Congressman. It's pretty much easy to say here that anytime somebody talks about cuts to Medicaid or to Medicare, or people get up in arms and voters get upset. Your reaction?
Here we go.
I agree with President Trump. We don't want to touch Social Security and the benefits for Social Security or the benefits for Medicare for people that truly need it. But I don't think that anyone would question whether we should audit and determine voter or eligibility. For example, what Musk has discovered, there may be thousands of individuals, if not close to 1 million individuals, who may not be qualified to receive Social Security checks, and they're undermining a system that should be available for the people that truly need it.
Right.
And I would hope that my Hispanic friends,
like the welfare system,
our colleagues, are not going to be clinging to the Biden administration's policies, where they expanded it and tried to put a whole class of citizens on welfare who are healthy, young, able-bodied individuals. We need these individuals to get back to work and protect the system for people that truly need it, those who are disabled, who are aged, who are blind, who are children. And so I think that we need to get our priorities in order.
I think, too, when you look at Medicaid, we've already heard some colleagues of yours express, concern, and I think it's very valid.
I got to stop
that
doing
if you
that.
start to make these massive cuts, say it is to Medicaid, for example, that it would actually hurt people that depend on that for their health insurance, for their health benefits. That's very fair. But at the same time, the waste and the fraud, in particular in Social Security, that I think most Americans could get behind. Are we moving too fast, in your opinion? Do you think that we're moving too fast, or do you think we need to take a little more time?
We definitely running with no brakes.
To do his due diligence.
Let's be honest, we running with no brakes.
Happening, and what time frame is that when you've got this push by Donald Trump to get the big beautiful bill all together, and that's on you. Elon Musk can make recommendations, but it's going to be on you in Congress to actually make it happen.
Yeah, for years we've been saying that if we cut all of discretionary spending, which would be the Doge cuts, the Elon Musk cuts, that's discretionary mostly. If we cut all of that, we still won't balance the budget. We have a deficit of $2 trillion. So we have got to touch our mandatory spending. If you take Social Security off the board, that's fine. If you take Medicare off the board, that's fine. But you eventually you got to start finding somewhere in mandatory spending, and the responsible and thoughtful way to do that is to identify places in Medicaid that Joe Biden expanded into a population of people that truly did not need it or deserve it and should be working and getting employment to get health insurance from the private sector. These are young people who we need to be in the workforce.
Okay, let's move on to this. So you attended the Alliance for Responsible Citizenship Conference in London. Energy Secretary Chris Wright spoke, and he slammed the UK's 2050 net zero climate deadline. He called it a sinister goal. You are also set to lead an oversight committee hearing next week, and it is going to focus on strengthening America's energy reliability. So what are the priorities here? We had a guest on earlier on the show, talked about the expansion of nuclear energy, the responsible use of nuclear waste, for example. Where are you going with this? And what do you think this committee is going to need to do first?
We've had a lost decade in productivity. I mean, we've been playing around with all this Green New Deal stuff and all this woke culture. It has really set our industry back. It's set our economy back almost a decade. And it's time that we wake up. And I'm so grateful that Trump is ushering this in. But look, we've got
what he's talking about, those ESG scores that BlackRock had installed, to where if you wanted to get a loan from them, then you had to have certain ESG levels, DEI programs. You had to hire certain people, all this stuff. This is why entertainment is trash. This is why Greta Thunberg, this is why we even know her name outside of being some silly little girl. What did she say? I forgot what she said, but the whole reason why we even know that this little goofy little girl exists when she should have been in school is because of BlackRock and their ESG scores. This is why I was doing the videos about the protests over in the UK. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm gonna let him finish this, but I'm gonna show my favorite video from all of that crap.
I mean, when you talk to manufacturers, when you talk to utilities, they don't have the supply to provide all the manufacturing industry to come back to reshore to the United States. They don't currently have the supply to power up all of the AI data centers that we're going to need. We're going to need to have a critical moment in the United States where we truly start investing a great deal of money if we're going to be an economy that continues to outpace China.
You also, Congressman, were appointed to the House's Declassification and Transparency Task Force. So what's that going to be?
Yeah, that's a great team, being led by Ana Paulina Luna from Florida. Our goal is to identify and try to make disclosure, disclose as much as possible from some of these secrets that they're long overdue, including the JFK files, the files on the RFK assassination, the MLK assassination. The American people are demanding the Epstein list, and they demand to know what's.
Right, yeah, we already went over there, but yeah, this is my favorite video, favorite protest video. This is what BlackRock, they were funding these people. This is my favorite video. They tried to stop this bus of migrants. Not that they were trying to stop the migrants, they were just trying to stop the bus because they were sitting in the road of blocking traffic, talking about some stop big oil. Never mind that they're using their vests, those orange sport vests made of oil, and cars were burning more oil just sitting there in the middle of their protest than they would if they were just driving regularly. Yeah, you go ahead and sit down while that bus is just going. Nope, not stopping. You stop me. You stop me. Look at the guy. I love the guy in the front window right here. Look at the guy in the front window. He's just looking. Oh, I love this video. This video warms my heart. It warms my heart. It warms my heart. Go ahead. Come on, sit down again. Go ahead. Be stupid enough to sit down in the middle of the road again. I tell you, I double dog tell you. Do it again. Do it again. Yeah, just run with it because he's not stopping. All right, so he stopped right there. And then the only thing he's doing is taking his foot off the brake.
Is everybody okay?
Look, here's an idiot. Yeah, get up. Sat down. Yeah, get up. Your life has no value. Not as valuable to the bus driver as it is to yourself. So you just keep playing them play stupid games. Go ahead. Fortunately, nobody got hurt, but unfortunately, a bus driver had to deal with a bunch of dummies who think that they're doing something. They're getting paid by corrupt billionaires, trillionaires even, a corrupt corporation to act like that they're making a difference. I swear to God, that's one of my favorite videos in all the world. I love that video. You saying countries will have a greater confidence in the U.S. paying its debts and bond prices may rise, earning more investment into the U.S. Exactly. The first FBI agents were accountants and bank examiners as one of the qualifications, right? Because you had to trace, you had to follow the money, the cash money. Like, you think they don't know how to follow cash money? That $4 trillion is going to turn up. All right, so let's get to the coup de grace. While we're here, let's go.
Is he right? I mean, Eric Adams is still a Democrat-ish, right? You think he's masculine?
No, he's buff. He's 63 years old. I was going to say Obama. When they say right away who's the most. Now, he's slim, but he's athletic. He plays ball.
But is he right that Republican? Well, first of all, let me just show you the numbers because actually the numbers maybe do suggest this. For young men under the age of 29, the swing from 2020 to 2024 in Trump's favor is pretty significant. 49 to 48, Trump to Harris. It's almost tied with young men. Trump did very well with young people relative to what he normally does. There's something going on here.
No, and I mean, this was why, Joe Rogan was so influential in this campaign. Joe Rogan has an audience mostly of young men. There was
masculine Democrat right now.
In case you missed it, the title was built off of this video for Clay Travis, who offered the WNBA team, whoever won the championship, or any WNBA team, but he offered the champion WNBA team. He said he would put up $1 million bet, or $1 million for them to play a high school team, a men's high school team, high school basketball team, just to shut them up and to show them that no, you don't deserve the money that you think you do. You need to be humble. And of course, the women refused. The WNBA champion or WNBA players, they refused it. So let's say you say get everything jammed through past legislation before the midterm next year. They'll be campaigning. It's going to be a Republican sweep either way. But yeah, so Clay Travis, this is what he said.
Who is the most masculine Democrat right now in America? Mayor Pete
Is that a gay joke?
No, Mayor Pete. No, well, no, it's just that he's not particularly masculine. Nobody's like, oh, Mayor Pete, he's a badass. Chuck Schumer, is anybody like, hey, Chuck Schumer holding up an avocado and a beer to talk about the Super Bowl? Is anybody like, hey, that's a dude I want to hang out with?
But Trump's like a grandpa.
Well, hold on.
This right here. But Trump's like a grandpa. Chick, have you looked in the mirror? You look like a great grandmother. What? I'm sorry, what was your point? That Trump is a grandpa? Yes, he's a grandfather. Soon to be a great grandfather, if not already. What is your point in saying that? I swear to God, man, liberals are morons.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Trump took a bullet in his ear and immediately stood up and said, fight, fight, fight. Every man in America and most of the women out here were impressed by that, even if the women won't admit it. She's shaking her head strong. And second part of this, basically summing it up, Democrats for men are and Republicans
Democrats for men
are put. There are no masculine men in the Democrat Party right now.
That's the argument. That's the argument. And I have to ask you have to ask yourself as a black man, if you are a Democrat, why? It is 100% for white women and gay men. They have black women by the nose and coochie hairs. They, Massa, tell me what to do, Massa. Is that you? You the mentally enslaved black woman's lapdog? And I'm not doing this to slam black women, but we've been telling them for years, the only reason why you're a Democrat is because of welfare checks and food stamps and other government subsidies, which they are eliminating, which will probably be gone. A lot of you will be kicked off of social services probably before the kids get out of school. The way this administration is moving, you'll be kicked off of government subsidies before the kids get out of school. Why is you kissing? These are the people that hung you from trees. Do you understand that? These are the people that didn't want you to didn't want you to integrate schools. These are the people that wanted to keep you in physical slavery. These are the Dixiecrats. Do you understand? These are the people that have Confederate flags tucked away like Nazi paraphernalia in their homes. They're Democrats. Somehow you think they love you. You are so desperate for that white pat on the head or for a piece of trashy black pussy. Yeah, that's a snow tax. You dissing black women. Bruh, I do not diss or have anything bad to say about black women who have their head on straight. And it's funny, ever since I opened the Embrace Villainy channel, I have come across those type of women. I love it. Okay, you got your girl. Who's the conscious sister with the head wrap with the glasses? Forget her name. Dang, I hate that I be forgetting y'all names. I'm sorry. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When she talk about the value system with the fan, the Muslim sister. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Type her name in the chat. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The Muslim sister. With the glasses and the head wraps, with the plants and the incense. I forget her name. Crimson Cure. Okay, Crimson Cure. You know what I'm saying? You get those type of chicks. What's the other one? Lewis, you turned me on to one chick. Hold on. Because I want to give people their shout outs, I want to give people their shout outs. You ain't got to shout me out, but I'll definitely give y'all shout outs. Let's see. I want to make sure I get that sister's name. Sabby Sabs. Yeah, Lewis turned me on to Sabby Sabs. Like, oh man, this chick is tight. Amala Ekpunobi, that little light-skinned chick, the half black, half white chick, cute little chick with the cute little teeth with the big forehead. You know what I mean? It's like these people are starting to make sense now, because now we're no longer in an era or an age where we're sitting up here trying to, oh, the white man this, the white man that, because I mean, the last thing you should be worried about in 2025 is some white dude calling you the N-word. You should be worried about your money. You should have been worried about your money, really, in all honesty, all along. That's really the crux of racism, is the power to stop you from earning money, right? From getting a proper good education, right? You care less if the average white man on the street driving a daggone pickup truck call you a racial slur. At least you shouldn't be concerned about it, because he's not costing you no money. I mean, yeah, he might get you emotionally hot or something, depending on the situation, and maybe you give him a knuckle sandwich or two pieces of biscuit and a large Coke, but you know, I mean, in all honesty, if the dude ain't costing you no money, why do you care what he got to say? It's not your boss calling you the N-word. You wish your boss would call you an N-word. Now, you had the biggest lawsuit, your name would be on the front of that daggone workplace. Jibba Jabba's construction company. You know what I'm saying? Oh, good Lord. The Audric Plumbing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you wish a mofo would. You wish a mofo would today. Like, no, I ain't gotta break your teeth out and, you know, catch a charge or whatnot, and gotta spend a week in jail, then got court dates and all that. No, like, I got you on camera. We live in an Orwellian society. Everything is taped everywhere, especially in the workplace. We just roll back the tape. Got audio? Yeah, turn it up. Jibba jabba, you effing Negro. Except, you know, you don't say Negro. You hit you with the hard R. Man, that's an open and shut case for old Ben Crump. Yeah, you worried about the wrong thing. You worried about your money in 2025. Not trying to beat behind the bush for races. What does it do for you? It ain't gonna pay no damn bills. Who gives a damn if Marty's Plumbing, if one of his little, you know, $20 an hour workers is a racist? What does that do for you? Yeah, get you a check. Maybe. Or a jail sentence if you can't control your emotions about it. Whatever.
Drama about whether Kamala Harris was going to give an interview to him, wound up not doing it. I think is probably a mistake, although it probably didn't affect the outcome of the election. But I mean, I think, you know, what that guy said was pretty dumb, but it is not. It is not true. It is true that Democrats have a problem, especially with young men. I mean, that is a real fact.
So that in a way it validates what Clay Trump.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I lost half my viewers. Say Trump everywhere. Old man has energy or excellent stimulants. I wonder how many hours he sleeps. From what I understand, he don't sleep. But just a quick look at this panel. There's Kerry, no job champion. And if you notice, Scott Jennings is missing. Abby Phillips, where's Scott Jennings? Isn't he normally sitting right here? Where's Scott Jennings? But anyway,
way it validates what Clay Travis is talking about, because if you're trying to get young men, you're not going to get them on all policy points and all the, no, Joe Rogan knows karate and sometimes he talk about drugs. That's good enough for me. Pete Hegseth was in Germany this week doing squats with like 220 on the bar outside for no reason. That's what the Democrat. I'm being silly, but
and you know what?
serious.
One of the other points that Clay Travis made, and I think this is true. We saw this in real time when Trump had the assassination attempt in Butler. That image of him raising his fist and saying "fight, fight, fight" was like a shot of testosterone in the arms of a lot of men. Mark Zuckerberg was like, "Oh my God, he's so cool."
And
now look at where we are politically with some of these very people really turning politically toward Trump.
Those numbers that you just read, it's been happening for 10 years. This has been happening slowly but surely over time. I think that pollster in that clip earlier had said 2 out of 6 moderate men voted for Trump. It was the majority of moderate men voted for Trump. Even over 20% of liberal men voted for Trump. There has been what is seen as I don't want to say a war on masculinity, but there has been this trend in the Democratic Party, or it's at least felt that the left is becoming more and more hostile to the things that are typically men. And you've seen John Fetterman talk about this idea of like patronizing, calling them bros, or that ad that looked like a spoof at the end of the race of like, real men do this. It's like, have you ever talked to a dude in your life? So in James Carville saying, we need to have less like yappy voices and more men talking. And there are many men in the Democratic Party.
Democratic messaging is too feminine. But Carrie, what do you think is the masculinity that they are attracted to in
Look, Miss, equating hair pulling in high school over a Felantonio to military combat. What do you have to say about masculinity, you jobless Jezebel?
I'm laughing because I just, no disrespect to you lovely men on this panel, but you men or something. That's all,
You don't even have a husband
or something. And I can see the appeal of Donald Trump being a very strong masculine man, and I can see him winning over men, because I do agree the Democratic Party, for all intent and purpose, felt like a place for the others, and they tried to take on every issue that the Republicans didn't want. If you want to talk about trans, come here. If you want to talk about LGBTQIA, come here. If you want to talk about men and women, in sports, come here. There were all of these things that I felt men wanted to say felt emasculating. It felt like, I'm not with that. I don't believe in that. And I'm going to go over here because they're saying what I'm thinking.
And the abortion issue played a role in that. I mean, I think they did a political calculation.
And I think no one cared about abortion.
The big thing.
I think no one cared about it. I think everyone thought that was the issue. And when it was all said and done at the end of the day, I'm not saying I don't care about abortion. But what I'm saying is when Kamala made that one of her huge talking points, when Michelle campaigned for her, that was a huge talking point. And then in my mind, I'm all like, well, what happened to these people? I knew that people would be upset.
Remember what I was saying about Carrie Champion yesterday? That she was jobless or whatnot. Look at what they're promoting for her. Look up under there. Carrie Champion, Prime Video host, the Carrie Champion Show. Don't nobody watch that garbage. Nobody care what this chick have to say. Is she a pretty woman? Yeah, she is. But she's a moron. She's a typical black female, not a black woman, but a black female. Sitting up here dancing like this when the black woman said, well, I'm the most educated up here. Oh, you sure is, sister girl. Me hosting the show, what's up, Valiant Thor, is live, but the video isn't live. As a 143-year-old Democrat, I'm extremely mad Donald Trump is coming after my Social Security. Yeah, but don't nobody watch Carrie Champion show. Don't nobody watch her show. That's why she on CNN right now, trying to attract viewers to her garbage show. Matter of fact, hold on. Matter of fact, we're going to take a look. Hold on. Carrie Champion show. Let's look at the numbers. So apparently she's 2 seasons in. Take a look here. Oh, it's on YouTube. 5 years ago, 11K views, videos. You do anything new? 2 years ago, 974 views. Cary Champion Sports Center. What about your shorts? What you got in your shorts? Let's see. Let's go popular. Most pop 4K views. When did she put this out? Oop. Don't want to get copyright struck. Let's see here. Can we see the date on this? Damn it, let me mute that. Let's see. Let's go. Only 12 comments a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she put this out. 3 years ago, she put this out, and it's got these low views. I mean, she got to resort to thirst traps like this, which only got 21 comments, 138 likes. And when did she put this thirst trap out? 3 years ago. See that? 3 years ago. She putting out thirst traps 3 years ago. And ain't nobody even paying it no attention. This is like an OnlyFans page that only make like $200 a month. She got the legs all shining, only 25 comments, 97 thumbs up. And when did this go out? 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago is the last time anybody commented on this. Cary Champion, don't nobody give a damn about you. You a bum. You a bum. 4,000 subscribers. When did you put this out? When did your channel go into effect? 2017. I had more than that on the BTS channel. I had like 4,000 subscribers within the first, year? You know what I'm saying? You a bum, Cary Champion. You trying, but you are a bum. What's your most popular show? 7 years ago, you got 64K because you was dressed, you up there with other thoughts. Get the hell out of here. You a bum. You a bum, chick. You a bum. That was dehumanized. I'm just saying, man. That Tubin was on Zoom jacking it, and how does he have a job on TV? Oh, his hat. Oh, yeah. I remember the senator, the congressman or whatever. He thought he cut the camera off. All of a sudden, next you know, he pulling his pants down, and he just going to town. And they like, bro, what are you doing? He was going to town. Anyway, let's get back to this.
About that, and it felt as if it didn't matter, although it does. It felt as if it didn't matter because the conversation about manly men, as we just saw that young man say on the panel, or what is his name again?
Clay Travis.
Yeah, I knew that.
You act like you don't know who he is. Hold on.
I want to talk to you about the Democrats.
Hold on. We're going to stop it right there. They wear my shoes. We're going to stop it right there, but I'm going to put it to you like this. Because I saw that my numbers dropped when I started talking about black men and welfare and the Democratic Party. All of a sudden, you know, brothers got butthurt. And let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I'm being dead honest with this. These are my honest feelings with this. The simple fact that you were wasting your day all day, every day, just listening to dudes talk about these raggedy chicks because you get some type of endorphin hit off of black women being dogged and degraded and whatnot, and their fallacies being put before you because they actually filmed themselves screwing up. And then you come here and you hear me actually put my foot in your ass. I'll gladly pay that snowman tax on that one. about your mentality. Do understand you play a part in this role too. These chicks are not doing it by themselves. I mean, a lot of y'all sit up here and listen to this stuff. Y'all sit up here and watch a Fresh and Fit show. Y'all be giving these dudes money. They be talking about these chicks or whatnot. But the whole hustle, and understand, a simp is going to be a simp no matter what he say online or whatnot, or what he say to you in your face. But behind closed doors, there's a reason why, like Fresh and Fit and the whatever podcast and other people, Pop the Balloon, all of this stuff, they sit up there when they introduce you. What's your internet? What's your Instagram? Your OnlyFans, etc., etc., etc. And the first thing these freaking goofball brothers and white dudes, whatever, but I'm talking about us as black men. The first thing you mother, father, sister, brothers do is trying to find they damn social media handles, their Instagrams, their OnlyFans, their Twitters, all of this stuff. As soon as they say it, y'all typing it in, trying to get up, trying to find the chick and get her nudes and all of this stuff. I mean, these chicks, whenever they go on these goofy shows, especially like whatever, Fresh and Fit and Pop the Balloon, or even like Kendra G, while they go on them type of dating shows and all this stuff, they say their Instagram handles and all that stuff or whatnot, is because a bunch of lonely, desperate simps flood their pages. They pay for their OnlyFans and all of that stuff. These be the same guys that will say all types of nasty stuff to these chicks in the comments, but they turn right around and they dropping $20 for the OnlyFans. Man, miss me with that BS. Y'all so fucking hypocritical. I'll pay that tax. So when I started talking about this, I lost half the viewership. I see the numbers. I lost half the viewership because you don't want to take that slap in the mouth. You just as unaccountable as these raggedy bitches you complain about all day. I'm just gonna send Snow $20. I ain't gonna even worry about it. You just as unaccountable as these bitches you complain about all day since 2018. Oh, you don't know who Carrie Champion is? Oh, she used to be. Yeah, don't worry, Red Pill. I'm paying the snow tax. Yeah, Carrie Champion was the Molly Querum before Molly Querum. Oh yes, today is the topic. You say $21. Today is the topic, and what do you think about this topic, Stephen A? Okay, well, what about you, Shannon Sharp? Oh, okay. Well, we're going to go to a commercial break. That was Carrie Champion. She was Molly Querum before Molly Querum. You got me at $27. You upping the snow tax on me. No, but I mean, I'm digging in y'all, and y'all act like y'all. And trust me, I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say I'm better than you. I've made my mistakes too. I have a history of dating single moms and going through all of that crap. But I learned. These damn y'all been watching these goddamn I hate black women videos for since 2018, 2019, 2020. And you still simping out when somebody talk about the stuff you do. Because you think you unaccountable. How the hell you grow up in the same house, your sister a hoe, your mama ain't worth a damn. Yeah, 12 comments in 3 years. Thank you. Jibba, you must be on a delay. But you know, you grow up in the same house with your whole ass sister. That's another snowman tag. I'm like I said, I'm just gonna send money. You grow up in the same house with your whole ass sister with a whole ass mama. Boyfriends in and out of the house, but suddenly you think that you come out of it unscathed. Oh, it's just the women in my family that are trash. No, you too, bruh. You got to get yourself together too. You have to recognize your flaws too. You have to work on your flaws too. You don't come out unscathed. You just as fucked up as they are. You just don't want to accept it. No such thing as a perfect person, not even you. You're just as flawed and screwed up as they are. You too have put yourself in bad situations. Don't sit up here and act like you haven't. You too have lost money from bad decisions. Don't act like you haven't. Ain't nobody listening to me right now is some multimillionaire living on a mansion on top of a hill with guard dogs and security men running around with freaking AR-15s. Stop it. We all a bunch of working Joes or retired or whatever. Stop it. Some of us are more fortunate than others, but trust me, we're not. That doesn't make us better than the next man on a social level, because we all black men. The second we walk out the house, it don't matter if we wearing a 3-piece suit or something like this. We all get judged and seen as a POS. Somebody's going to see you as a POS. That's why I laugh at people talking about, oh, white people didn't like the halftime show. Negro stuff. Negro stuff. Yeah, I saw the little comedy video. You know what I mean? Black people thought the same thing. Like, what the hell? Like this the only song this dude got. I'm so sick of hearing this damn song. Meanwhile, he talking about Drake. Yeah, I'm performing at this whack ass Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Drake's selling out concerts all over the world. Album sales just through the roof. Dude, he could buy your label. He could buy your record label. He could buy your masters like Michael Jackson did and make a fool out of you, give you nothing. Stop. Oh, God. I mean, I'm just saying as an example, but, you know, at some point as black men, we have to realize that, you know, we got to stop being gynocentric in our thinking and habits and whatnot. We got to grow the fuck up and be actual fucking men. This Trump presidency is led by fucking men. Led by men. That's the way you should be thinking. And as men think in absolutes, they make a solid decision and then they get it done. Women live in a what ifs world and what about the trans and what about the gays and what about the illegals? And that's a feminine way of thinking. Now is the Trump's policies is bringing money back into men's pockets. Men's pockets. You heard them a couple days ago with the energy people. They need construction workers. They need welders. They gonna need people who know how to work on oil rigs. All this. We'll train you. Come on down. If you know how to work a hammer and a nail and a shovel, bring your butt down to Louisiana. The Gulf of America is hiring. We need people that work on pipelines. We need people that know how to do coding. We need all of that stuff. Get your butt down here. You bringing steel back. If you can't work on an oil rig, if you know how to at least be able to at least work a forklift or whatever, U.S. Steel is coming back. Cars, the car industries, they're coming back. Jobs are coming back to the country for grown men and women who are capable of at least being able to work a rivet. My aunt worked at a car factory for 20-something years till they shut it down. They going on, I mean, now she took the buyout. She good. She like in her late 60s, early 70s. But she was sitting in the chair with a freak on for 20 years. Them jobs are coming back. I mean, you might lose some positions because of automation, but hey, the jobs that need a human touch, they're here. They're here. They're here. They're cutting off social services and everything. Y'all sitting up here, I said this stuff years ago. I said, yo, if you want to get, for those of you who are secretly trying to, well, I want a black honey on my arms. If you want to get them chicks back, I mean, it might take a generation or two. I say 2 generations, because the culture has to change. You have to cut off the welfare culture, the welfare and prostitute mentality. That's going to take 2 generations, maybe 2.5, before that goes away, because you're not going to be able to get on social services anymore. So the prostitute industry with the upcoming children, especially the black women who are coming up with this new age, who are little kids now, they're still going to be caught up in the prostitute culture, unfortunately. But their children, because the prostitute culture is not going to net them any freaking money, the money's going to be tight, and there's not going to be a way to live, and they're going to be back, they're going back to shaming women for that. So the next generation of women, girl, you better listen to these men. You better learn how to cook. You better not have a problem cleaning up. You better learn how to take care of these babies, because these dudes who got all this disposable income, who are buying houses and all of this stuff, they don't want to hear that stuff. All that stuff Kevin Samuels and all these dudes been talking about ever since then, all of this stuff is starting to now bear fruit and bear fruition. It's going to be some internet niggas that's going to claim that they was the ones who, yeah, I was the one and I was the champion. No, bro, it's just the way society is just going to turn. It's going to turn back to what it was before welfare and feminism took over. Right, that whole blah 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 stuff. Yeah, all of that's going to go the way to the dodo, because of the way the policies are already changing. Trump's policies are already changing the cultural narrative. Wait until the money starts flowing in and we're not paying income tax, and dudes is making like $30-$40 an hour and stuff and able to afford a house with one income and everything. Yeah, I know you on a delay because you making comments 5 minutes after I done said some stuff. No, but wait until that starts popping up and chicks are out here starving because they're frozen out of the job market because they need man labor in order to help things pop. Wait until that happens. Chicks are not going to have no choice. They're going to be forced. They're going to be forced to culturally submit. They're going to be forced to culturally submit because the culture is going to dictate it. It's like either you get up with a dude or you fucking starve, bitch. That's the way it's. I know. I'm sorry, but I'm just being honest. That's the way it's going. You're going to see that happen within the next 5 to 10 years, if not sooner. Probably before Trump even leave office. At the rate he going, I mean, he 100 miles and running, ain't no brakes. People are coming up behind him trying to clean up. But he 100 miles and running. Give a damn about you getting fired or anything like that. He give a damn about you scamming the welfare system. You lucky you're not in prison for that. But you as a man, you need to get, look, you need to get your blue collar skills up. If you're not intelligent, if you're not a computer guy, you're not into coding or numbers, all of that, you need to take yourself to like a trucking school, plumbing, HVAC, welding, construction, whatever. Schools will offer courses in agreeability, right? You need to get into a blue collar field, most particularly construction, because the U.S. is getting, they're laying the groundwork for the second industrial revolution going on, only it's going to be modernized. You need to get your ass in school. If you don't want to do school, if you're under 35, you need to go into the military or join the police force. The jobs are out here. There's a way for you to take care of yourself. Do you understand? There's a way for you to take care of yourself. It's coming. It's coming. It's like I said, it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it's going to get worse for women before it gets better for men, because that's how it's going to roll. That's how it's going to roll. Guaranteed. Watch it pop before 2026. Watch it pop before 2026. 2025 is going to be rough. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough on females. Being going to be all right, but it's going to be rough on females. The Democratic Party is an effeminate party. Their whole leadership is going to be wiped out. They're going to be wiped out because of corruption charges. People are going to be going to jail. They're going to be stepping down. They're going to be calling Russell Simmons for a real estate agent. I'm telling you, the groundwork is already happening. These people are not fucking around with you. These aren't career politicians doing politics. This is a businessman who is seeing the country as a CEO. He cleaning house. He going after the money. He not playing with you. I keep saying this, but you know what? You'll see. All I can say is you'll see. I'm here to report on it, but we'll deal with the rest of this stuff tomorrow. We got some good stuff coming up tomorrow. Let me show y'all what we're going to talk about tomorrow. All right. So tomorrow we got, let's see, disaster for Democrats. We can leave this poll alone. We ain't even worried about that. The Democrats are done. But judge wants additional arguments on Eric Adams, corruption charges potentially being dropped. AG Pam Bondi alarmed by state of Department of Justice, worse than I thought. Trump brings the receipts to read governors, a litany of tax-funded government programs. The governors, which means he gonna be, there's the audit. Secretary of State is gonna be on it. Pam Bondi gonna be busy as hell. And it just got even worse for Ilhan Omar. Come to find out, let me tell you what's going on with Ilhan Omar. All right. Let me tell you what's going on with this chick. In Liberal Hive Mind, he broke the story. This my dude right here. I like Liberal Hive Mind. I've been watching him for years. This dude is hilarious. It's some of y'all that are on my that are on like my TikToks and stuff. Y'all be seeing these little meme of the days. This is where they come from. They come from him. You see, you got Cash Patel as the Power Stone. Cash Patel is the Power Stone. You see all the other people, the stones. Cash Patel is the Power Stone. He broke the story that they're actually, because they asked Trump, listen, because they asked Trump, and y'all saw the video, I played it yesterday, I think, when they asked Trump about Ilhan Omar, her marrying her brother to skirt immigration and all this stuff, Trump was like, oh, well, we'll have people look into that. Sorry, I hit my mic. We'll have people look into that. And sure enough, the next day, people are looking into it. This chick is in trouble. They literally talking about, and I told you, she was running her mouth too much. She running her mouth way too much. Now they got them, the Cash Patel, now that he's in, and other people, they're now going to be looking at the situation where whether she was fucking her brother and had kids, married to her brother for the green card, and fathered children with her brother. They already done did the DNA test and whatnot, and they was like 99.9% match. supposedly. This chick is about to lose her citizenship and be deported and kicked out of Congress, kicked out of the Senate, because she talked too fucking much. Her and AOC, they already looking at AOC. Jasmine Crockett, Ratchet Crockett is next. Miss Star Trek villain, Darth Vader's black illegitimate bald-head daughter. You next. They not playing with you. Chuck Schumer. These people ain't fucking with you. Why do y'all think these people playing games with you? Yeah, Jibber Jabber, Ilhan Omar has been accused, and there's strong evidence that she married her brother so he could get a green card to go to school. Supposedly, they have 2 children together. Her brother. They don't have a legal wedding. They have a religious ceremony. So there's no marriage certificate, but they have a religious ceremony. And you know how them people from third world countries get down. They have no problems boinking each other. They have nothing else better to do but spread their legs and lay up in between, each other's legs with their relatives and whatnot. They're disgusting people. We have to be honest. They are the Alabama of the world. Man. Yeah, it's incredibly nasty. Trust me. Yeah, they looking into that. They are strongly looking into that. They are seriously looking at revoking her American citizenship that she got at 17 years old and deporting her. They are not playing around. They are not playing around. She messed up. She messed up. We're going to dig into this story tomorrow. Wait, hold on.
You serious?
Like, yes, they are deadly serious. They are not playing with this chick, man. They are not playing around. They are locking this stuff up. They locking this stuff up. United States is a corporation, and they're going to treat it as such. All right, so look, tomorrow, 9 p.m., we're going to finish off some of this stuff and get into some more stuff. I hate that I'm doing 3-hour shows. I want to keep it down to 2, but I'm going to try to start cutting these segments down and then posting them so that way we can, people can join it. But I mean, I'm posting regular stories throughout the day. I try to do at least 3 stories a day. Let me show y'all. Hold on. Let me go there. As y'all can see, I try to hear videos. Oop. I try to do 3 stories a day. Trump vows crackdown on illegal immigration fund. What did I say? Israeli ambassador to U.S. calls Hamas monsters after return of 4 dead hostages. Former NFL punter Chris Cluey arrested, called MAGA racist. Yeah. Grand jury recommends Alabama Police Department to be immediately abolished. I thought y'all would love to be on that. That's the story y'all love. Oh, racism. The EU and Ukraine told to hold their own. Democrats try new media strategy. I mean, I'm posting the stories. Can't say I'm not. Yeah, it's a brand new bitter truth. But I catch y'all tomorrow at 9. I'll see y'all then. Peace. Be safe. Please be safe. Remember, de-escalate is the word of the...
He must have given up, thrown in the towel, abandoned his sad little masquerade. I finally got to him. The power of the press triumphs.